Don't listen to this if you're a pussy.
Bretzky!
What?
Get your ass over here!
All rise! It's the VIPod!
Come get it while it's hot. Season 2's just gonna smell like a fried chicken fire log in here.
Squirt. Squirt, 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 squirt.
You know what our listeners want to hear?
What?
I don't know either. Where's that cactus? We should just have the cocaine song as our intro.
What the f***?
I'm an immigrant. Did you just try to play footsie with me? You know who I really hate?
Tommy, I am your father.
Oh, so now we're doing movie quotes?
Yep.
Run, Bretzky, run! Are you recording?
Yep.
No, but really. Are you recording?
Yeah.
I get it. I see what you're doing here.
You may be seated. I am Wayne Bretzky, the greatest one, alongside the Tommy Show 1.0. We are back from the dead. This is episode 52 or something like that. I don't know. I lost count. But this is the VIPod.
We beat COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said COVID straight, like, fuck off.
Yeah. Glad it's over with, honestly.
I know. It was, you know what? It sucked. Like, day one was probably the worst. I felt absolutely horrible. But you know what? If that's the worst that it was going to get, I'm totally fine with it. It sucked, but you know what? It was really nice because, like, my life has been so busy the last few months that I actually get to catch up on the movies and shows, and I actually bought a video game, and I ended up playing video games for like 3 nights straight.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my God, this feels so good. I want to be sick for another week.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I've been laid up for like just about a month now, and
yeah, it was brutal. I mean, I still had to do my school, but like even a couple days, I was like, I told my instructor, I'm like, look, man, I'm all caught up with my work. I need to go lie down. I'm tired. I didn't say that I played video games all night, but I mean, he's going to listen to this episode,
What game
so
did
he
you get?
knows. What?
what game?
I got Tom Clancy's Division 2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, super good. I
heard that's a really good
love war games. So
Yeah, same.
so that was fun. And you know, then the kids got a little sick, and you know, after 3 days with them having COVID, they started fighting. I'm like, okay, you guys are doing good. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. Wifey's a little down right now, but you know what? We here, we beat it. We're back to the studio and back to, you know, rock our audience again.
Yeah,
So,
we can insult each other in person.
absolutely.
And,
Oh my God, so much better.
have
So much better.
pocket cheeseburgers.
Oh, you son of a bitch. You know, I was actually thinking of stopping at McDonald's and picking up couple, you know, because I was thinking of you. And I was like, I was already running late. I'm like, next time. But like, you know what? No, never mind. I'm not picking anything up because you didn't get me one.
I'll tell you what. You're going to have that one because I already had a quarter pounder.
I just had a Subway, but anyways, okay, let's get into today's show. I'm very, very excited, and you should be excited too because you know what? You get to teach me a little bit.
I'm always excited.
You get to teach me a little bit of English today.
Okay.
Because, so before we introduce our guest, and he's already laughing, which is awesome. I love it. So as some of you know, English is not my first language. It's not my second language either. And it's not my third language. It's my fourth language.
Oh, you're going to say it's your third language.
No. And you know,
Because you are shitty at it.
I'm there, yeah. But there are certain words that still till today I have.
You put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Well, not even that, but the word draw.
Okay.
Super simple, right?
Yeah.
Now, what happens when you combine? See, I'm nervous, but when you combine the word draw and aholic.
Drawaholic.
See, and it's like I'm almost like I want to say I want to really pronounce the W, you know, Drawaholic, and it's like, I know it's wrong, but I just like my brain and my mouth wants to say
that's definitely the Eastern European in you.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
one.
because
You see a W and you're just like, oh yeah.
Because so for those that don't know where I'm from originally, I'm from Slovakia, and my first language is Slovak, but also speak Czech and Hungarian. Now, the W and V are pronounced the same. It's the, So I was like, oh, and I saw. So I'd like to introduce Michael from Drawaholics Anonymous, and he is a musician, but also what we're going to focus on I assume that's your main art focus, I guess. It's you're a concept artist.
Yes.
So welcome to the show, Michael. Mike, what do you prefer?
Michael's good.
Michael, okay, perfect. And so I am super
Do we give the
excited.
full name, or is he just Michael?
Michael Buffington Jr., right?
Michael Buffington Jr. That's it. Rolls right off the tongue.
It does. That's a very I'm not gonna lie. You already sound like you got like that. That's your superhero, alter ego.
Alter ego. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'll do a little background on how we connected.
Sure.
And then we'll just unload our questions and let you talk. But
All right,
as some of our listeners know, I recently got into ticket talking, as Bretzky calls it, and I mean, I've had TikTok for years, but scrolling through first time TikTok, I'm like, okay, it's just girls dancing. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but like, you can only watch the same freaking dance like over and over so many times. It's a different girl, but it's the same dance. It gets boring. So I kind of got off on it. And
that's not what you meant to say, Tommy. That means something different.
My wife's listening, okay?
No, you got off of it, not got off on it. That means two completely different things.
Yeah. And again, like I said, you're gonna teach me some English today. But and then so recently I got back on TikTok, and I started just getting into like the different aspect of TikTok, and there's lots of artists that use it, lots of musicians, lots of designers, lots of concept artists. There's lots of like even cooks, mechanics. So like if you have a business, it's a really good way to promote your own business, and I really love that part of it. So I started following a lot of artists since I'm in graphic designing right now. And
I just had all my money in OnlyFans. I thought that was going to be the one that was going to take off.
I know, right?
I'm sorry.
Right? But
Can't win them all.
But I ran into your live drawing. You were on live TikTok and you were drawing, and I was like, holy shit! Like that was literally my first thought when I saw your drawings. I'm like, this guy's badass. Like his characters look like characters from a video game. Like I was a huge World of Warcraft fan. I literally had to quit playing that game because my marriage was falling apart. That's how serious I was. Like Friday nights was like, honey, no, we cannot go see our friends. I'm raiding with my online friends that I've never met, and it was more dedicated than my wife, kids, and job. Like it was like Friday night. This is what we're doing. So I loved that game. I love everything from that game, from characters to backgrounds to weapons. And your drawings reminded me of that, and it brought me back to my gaming days, and I was like, oh my god. So I love it. And I kind of started commenting, and you're just a super nice guy, because a lot of people don't reply in lives. Mm-hmm. And so when I messaged like, hey, this is super cool, and you're like, hey, Tommy Show, thanks very much, blah blah. We started talking a little bit. I'm like, dude, I want you on my podcast, and here we are. So I'm super excited. I appreciate you joining us. So tell us, what is...
Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Tell us, what is a concept artist exactly? Because, I have an idea, but don't really know what that is.
So a concept artist is a pre-production artist for video games, animation, film, whatever, right? So anything that you watch, any sort of media, any sort of entertainment, whether it be a video game, a movie, a TV show, an animation, has to have preliminary work done in order for them to create the world, the aesthetic, the vibe, the mood. All that stuff has to come from somewhere. And so they can't just sort of automatically set up shop and start filming. They have to sit down with somebody to help them visualize the world. So what a concept artist is we are what I like to call professional visual problem solvers, right? Oh, okay. So, for example, a director, a writer, a game designer, whomever will come to you with an idea, right? Mm-hmm. I have an idea. This is the world. This is the story. These are the characters. These are the environments, the props, the monsters, the creatures, whatever. And they need to bring these things to life. Unfortunately, they're not artists. So they hire somebody like myself who can then take their idea and create visuals that will coincide with what they were seeing in their head. So a concept artist is a very special function. We're different from illustrators. We're different from gallery painters because we're not just technical artists that are highly skilled. We are also problem solvers. So concept artists have to be very smart as well. Like I have never in life met a high level concept artist that was stupid. Yeah. Every single concept artist that I've ever met, maybe they weren't always the nicest guys, but they are always incredibly smart.
Yeah.
So, because, what you're doing is you're having to solve this problem of creating an aesthetic, a visual for this particular asset. And you have to use it, not using words, you have to use it you have to solve it using the 4 tools, and that is line, shape, color, and value. So what you have to do is you have to combine those line, shape, color, and value tools in different ways to evoke different emotions and solve that particular problem. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what a concept artist is. Anything that you see in a video game, a TV show, a film, whether it's a character, whether it's an environment, whether it's a vehicle, no matter what it is first, trust me, it is first drawn up, visualized by a concept artist. So that's basically what it is. We're kind of, front tip of the spear, high man on the totem pole. We're the first out of the gate to set the world, and everybody else in the production then creates the assets based on what we produce in terms of artwork.
That is super cool.
Yeah, it's basically you're bringing the dream to life. Like somebody is telling you, this is what I'm seeing in my brain. But that's got to be difficult too at times because, like you said, these very skilled people in creating a story or an idea or whatever, but they're not an artist, but they're not necessarily a good explainer either, I would imagine. And that's got to be something that's not always easy to deal with when someone's trying to tell you what they're seeing in their head, but they couldn't properly describe a cube to you kind of thing.
I mean, that's comes with the territory. As a concept artist, you expect that people may not always be able to articulate what they're seeing in their head in the perfect way. And that's why we get paid the big bucks, because we're there ready to decipher whatever information they give us. Now, what really helps is when, the director is also an artist as well. So for example, I worked at Lucasfilm Animation on a TV show called The Clone Wars. And Dave Filoni was my director, and Dave Filoni was also an artist and a storyboard artist previously. And so he would actually do little sketches to show us kind of what we wanted. So that would get us sort of in the ballpark, and doing production work with him went very quickly because he was so good at explaining. Yeah. And then you have other people who are not as good as explaining, and you wonder how they got their job.
Can you give us a name there too, or I'm just bugging you.
Fortunately, I can't, but I can tell you a story. I'll give you an example. So there was this one guy. I was working for this company down in LA, and I was doing some work on a big video game project, and I was designing this character. And the guy comes, they do the dailies, and he comes in and he looks at the artwork. and he's looking a little like he's not quite satisfied with the female character. When I design female characters, my default is to make them look a little bit more realistic as opposed to, you know, over the top Laura Croftis, you know?
Yeah.
So I made her look a little bit more realistic, like an actual woman. And he was sitting there and he was kind of looking at it. And I was like, what's up? Do you have any notes? And he goes, yeah, I mean, it's good. He goes, but it's not quite what I want. And I go, okay, well, what are you looking for? Like, give me some adjectives, some sort of feedback, and I'll take that and make the changes.
Right.
And he goes, can you just make her more hot? and I said, what? And he goes, can you make her more hot? You know, just hotter. And I go, okay, like what? And he goes, I don't know, man. Can you just make her hotter? And I was like, oh my gosh. So I said, sure, no problem. So I went back and I thought about anatomy, right? See, because as a concept artist, you have to know a little bit about a lot of things. And one of the things that I know very well is I know human anatomy. I also have studied at length the subtle differences between male and female anatomy. Now, obviously, when we think about male and female anatomy, we think about the obvious differences, genitalia and things like that. But there are also very subtle differences from head to toe, literally, that really will make someone look more feminine or masculine. And so I thought about that and I said, okay, how can I do this? So I rounded her jaw slightly. I elongated her neck just a little bit more. I narrowed her shoulders just a touch, obviously increased her breast size, narrowed the waist, boom, brought the pelvis width out a little bit. And those things alone were enough to satisfy what he wanted. So what I did was I looked at the subtle differences between male and female anatomy, what makes a woman look very feminine, and I just sort of amped up those elements. And when I brought it to him the next day, he goes, yes. He goes, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for.
I mean, was like, it would have been really funny. It's like, just say like, make her look hotter. I'm like, all right. And then you go there, well, I love big girls, right? And then so it's like, man, she's so hot. And he'd be like, whoa, I'm not fat shaming anybody, you know? But like, I mean, it could have, I would have probably played a joke, knowing me, you know? But yeah, exactly. Like, you know, that's the thing. You don't know what his hot is to
his adjective was wrong.
Exactly.
What he wanted was make her more stereotypically, you know, in that category, you know, like what the Hollywood has made hot, you know, and it was like you said, the amped up features, the big breasts, the skinny hips, the big hips,
that's the way I interpret it. I tried to pull other adjectives out of him. All I did was make her more hot, and so I just said, oh God, I don't know how this guy got his job, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to do my best to satisfy what this guy wants. And so I just was taking a shot in the dark based on my knowledge of anatomy. And fortunately, it turned out to be exactly what he wanted. It doesn't always go so well. Sometimes you're doing a lot of revisions because you have somebody who can't articulate what they want. And so that's really frustrating. I actually, there was a project where I actually walked off of the project because I was having such a tough time with the writer. And this was a big project at a big company down in LA. And I worked on the project, and the guy would never give me what I wanted in terms of knowledge. And it just felt like I was continuously shooting in the dark. And he was getting frustrated because I couldn't see things as he saw them in his head. And when I was asking for character briefs, he was saying, just read the script. And I said, well, I read the script, and that's how I see the character. That's how I see the voice of the character. Yeah. And so he was like, you know, well, that's wrong. And I'm like, okay, well, give me a brief and I'll follow the brief.
Yeah.
You know, and he wouldn't do it. We went back and forth. I had a meeting with the production manager or the producer, and we talked, and I said, you know what? This project is not for me. I've tried to work with him. It's been almost a month now, and we're still going in circles on these characters. He doesn't want to give me the things I'm asking for. What I'm asking for is something that I ask every client, every studio, and they give me this information happily, and he's not doing it, and he's getting upset because I don't see things as he sees them in his brain, and it's just not a good fit. And so, she was really disappointed, and they went and had to find another designer. And I don't even know. I don't think the project ever came out, which makes sense because this guy was kind of a jackass. But that's sometimes that's the tough side of it. But usually it's not that bad. Usually it's somewhere in the middle where you just kind of work back and forth a little bit, and then you'll eventually get it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, like you said you've looked a lot into like anatomy and stuff like that. And is that something that you've just kind of like personally, just studied visually by looking at a whole bunch of stuff, or like have you taken courses or anything like that? Because I even noticed Tommy was showing me some of your work before we started the show, and like, yeah, you do have people of all body shapes and sizes and stuff, and even the way that like fat was carried on some people and stuff like that. Like it looks very, you're getting it down to like it's depositing in the places it should be depositing. It's not just a rounder person than the other characters and all that. So like I can tell that you definitely do have some sort of knowledge in that field, and I'm just curious if like it's something you've actually developed professionally at all, or if it's just shit tons of observation.
I mean, it's kind of everything, right? I personally, I am obsessed with anatomy. I obsess over anatomy because I know that a deeper understanding of anatomy will help me be able to produce more believable characters, right? Having an understanding of the minutia of human anatomy will help me create things that look more convincing. And when I don't have reference, for example, and I have to draw from imagination or memory, I can draw things that are convincing because I'm pulling from this visual library in my mind that's full of all different kinds of anatomy. I study every body type, every age, gender, you name it. I really like, for example, drawing full figured people, plus size people. And the reason why is because the volumes are really different, right? Mm-hmm. I love drawing elderly people because skin hangs, and the bony structures are more pronounced because of the breakdown of collagen and things like that. So I really get into it. But it started, when I was in school. Obviously, I took 2 anatomy courses, and that was the beginning of sort of my introduction into human anatomy. And what I did was I memorized all 207 bones. Wow. And all the superficial muscles. So what I mean by that is all the muscles that you can see, because there's deeper muscles as well. Yeah. But if I couldn't see them as an artist, I didn't really need to know them as well. So I was really focused on the superficial muscles, the origin, the insertion, and the function of all these muscles. And so I began to really study these things so I could have an understanding of why certain muscles bulged out in certain actions and why certain muscles were more pronounced in certain situations from certain angles. And so as I began to sort of delve more deeply into this, what I saw was that there was a correlation in the improvement in my figure drawing. Mm-hmm. And so I'm also obsessed with figure drawing. I draw the human anatomy constantly. I draw the human figure constantly, almost daily. I draw the human figure, and that is how I got to where I'm at today. But yeah, it's very important. Even till this day, I am continuously studying anatomy. There's no way around it. Anybody who stops studying anatomy is really shortchanging themselves, because there's always more to learn. I mean, I'll obsess over weird things like the acromion process, which is that bump in the shoulder right here at the end of the clavicle where the spine of the scapula meets like this. I'll obsess over little stupid stuff like that because, by articulating that just right, when somebody looks at one of my drawings, they might not be able to articulate why it looks so realistic, but that's what they're seeing. Yeah. They might not be able to say, wow, you really captured, the patella tendon or the tibial tuberosity or the olecranon process or the, acromion process or the pit of the neck or whatever, but they'll be able to say, wow, that looks really realistic. And the reason why is because I understand all these things and I'm articulating all of them because I'm intimately acquainted with human anatomy. So it really does help you draw at a higher level. And I tell all these, these art students, if you want to get to the next level, you must master human anatomy. There's just no question about it. And
to the same point, like what you were saying earlier, how you were able to just, exaggerate a couple features to make that one girl appear more hot, quote unquote. You could exaggerate features to make someone more sinister, more grotesque, more, heroic, like whatever you wanted to do. There's stereotypical traits associated with any one of those personalities or whatnot, right? So you can, by knowing those well, you can definitely play off accentuating the right things to give the character the feel you're wanting to give them.
Absolutely. I mean, look, what I tell people, people nowadays, they really scoff at the idea that that there are common or dominant features within certain ethnic groups, or that there are certain sort of common or dominant features in men or women, and they like to scoff at all these things and say, well, you can't generalize, but that's nonsense. As an artist, if I have to articulate man, woman, elderly person, young boy, young girl, somebody of African descent, somebody of European descent, somebody of Asian descent, I need to be able to articulate these things with clarity, because I can't put a little thought bubble above the person's head and say, this person is African American.
Yeah.
I have to be able to draw that. So I need to draw in some of the dominant features. So, I understand all of the anatomy that's dominant in people of African descent. And I try to articulate those things so that when somebody looks at your drawing, they can very quickly, within a matter of a second or two, ascertain who and what this is that you're trying to draw. Because if they're taking time trying to figure out what you're drawing, what race, what gender, what ethnicity or whatever, what age, then they're not able to fall into the story and suspend their disbelief. They need to just that fast be able to understand what it is that you're trying to communicate. So sometimes you have to use dominant features and things like that when you're communicating different things. But going back to an understanding of anatomy really helps with all that. Like, I've studied all this stuff at length, and most of this stuff has been personal study on my own. And I now teach these things in classes and things like that because they're so valuable. I mean, I had none of this stuff when I was in school, outside of a couple of anatomy classes. All this other stuff that I'm talking about is stuff that I've studied on my own over decades because I'm just an anatomy obsessed nerd.
Looking at your drawings, it's very, very clear what you can achieve with your
understanding.
Yeah, with your understanding of a human body. Like certain things, just like I can tell when, like, there was one character where it was like an angry guy, and like, when it, like, just think of myself when I get angry, I breathe heavy, right? So my chest gets bigger, and like things like that you pick up on. Now, you said that like the internal muscles that you can't see, you don't really draw, but like you can't see the bones, but the bones still show up, like on the face, that like the cheekbones,
the structure, yeah,
the knuckles, right, like the elbow and all that stuff. And like I really want to show some of the videos or pictures that you have on Instagram. Absolutely. Just for our viewers right now. And obviously we're gonna plug your page throughout the week. And we'll make sure we'll get you some followers. Hopefully our listeners tend to be sometimes a little assholes, but like they're really nice people. they might even give you a follow. But nice. You know what? I there was one character that I absolutely loved, and you drew an orc. It was I'm sorry, I'm just scrolling here. It was an orc, at least reminded me of an orc from World of Warcraft.
Right there, that's the one.
And So I am going to just
Yep, it is an orc per the.
there we go. Yeah. So I am going to share this screen here, and I absolutely love it. Like it's the detail of the eye, the eyebrows, the nose ring, the teeth, or what are they called? They're not teeth, but like tusks. Are they tusks or teeth? Yeah, whatever. It's badass. The muscles, the you can see the knuckles and everything on it. Like that is absolutely wicked.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And like I'm just gonna do a few scrolls here. If you'd like to like me to stop anywhere and then just want to like tell us a story about it, but yeah, we can see like a lady's body over there, and like you said, it's there. We come in all shapes and sizes.
Yep.
And you know what? The magazines, the media really screw it up for today's kids because all they see is small waist, big boobs, big hips, right? And I mean, to a human body, there's more to that than just so-called perfection. I have my quotations up. But,
well, and one of the things that's really unfortunate about magazines, and especially fashion magazines, is that what people don't realize is that they actually will take the model and manipulate their body in Photoshop. So
absolutely.
They'll airbrush
wrinkles and
absolutely. So we don't see the imperfections in the model's body, and really that is where the character lies. Your imperfections are what make you unique. A mole, cellulite, a scar, wrinkles, whatever it may be, those things are what make you unique. And those are the very things that I actually try to capture when I'm working with a model or drawing. And I really try to take what's there and really draw it as true to life as I can, whether there's an imperfection or not. I really try to bring all that stuff out in my drawings and articulate the beauty of human anatomy. Because to me, it doesn't matter what the body type is. There is beauty in every single body type aesthetically. So I try to bring out and accentuate all that beauty in the human figure when I'm drawing. And it's just, but all that study is the reason why I can draw that orc to the level that I can draw that orc. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of that study, the different body types, studying full-figured people, I can very easily draw somebody who's supposed to be a full-figured character and make it believable, so that when the viewer sees that in game, in film, in story, they can easily suspend their disbelief. They're not caught up over the proportion being wrong or the anatomy off. Even fantasy anatomy, you would think, well, it's fantasy anatomy, it doesn't matter, but you always have to have one foot grounded in reality, and that's kind of what I try to do.
No, it's fantastic work. So can you name off some of the work that would be well known to maybe some gamers, like which video games you worked on or movies? Like I know you mentioned Clone Wars. Did you work on specific characters, or was it just like a bunch of things like backgrounds as well, or was it like specific to you drew one character?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked on. I have a pretty substantial credits list. I worked on Resident Evil 5. I worked on this X-Men 3 video game. I worked on a movie called Alpha and Omega back in 2010 is when it was released.
Like a Disney movie or something.
It's a cartoon. Yeah, that's right. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
And I worked on a lot of things that never saw the light of day, because that's really part of the job, is that you're working on things that go into production and the production gets killed and things like that. But probably the most notable thing is my time at Lucasfilm Animation on the Clone Wars series. When I was there, it was very different from how things are done in LA and Burbank and in Hollywood. There you're they hire specialists. So they hire background designers, prop designers, character designers, background painters, storyboard artists. Like they're very separate and specific functions. But at Lucas, the way their pipeline was set up was that you were just classified as a designer. You weren't a specific specialist. You were a designer, and you kind of had to design. Whatever they threw at you. So I spent a lot of time drawing blasters and spaceships and environments and lots of tertiary characters, like characters that would basically be on screen for 8 seconds and then get killed. The coolest, I think the coolest character that I designed was I designed Darth Bane and Darth Revan.
Oh, nice.
For episode 3, and they were supposed to come out in the Altar of Mortis trilogy. But what happened was, last minute, George Lucas decided that he didn't want Sith to have Force ghosts. And so that was my big shining moment where I designed these really cool characters that are beloved by the fan, especially those who are fans of the EU. And then it got cut at the last minute. So
yeah, Revan's one of the coolest looking guys I think in that whole universe. He just has a really,
and
really
I had a really cool design of Revan that was pretty different from what had come before. I thought it was very sleek, very refined, and I was excited, but they pulled it. Actually, it's funny because they wouldn't give me those designs to put in my portfolio when I left. But somehow, somewhere, somebody got their hands on those designs and leaked them on the internet. So they're out there. If you Google like Darth Revan Clone Wars, you'll see it come up, and then you'll see if you zoom in closely, because I think it's a low res file, you'll actually see my name on a little stamp, M. Buffington Jr.
Oh, nice,
so,
nice.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool, man. I had a good time. Did a lot of stuff for the Night Sisters trilogy. I designed Mother Tolson's cave.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was a good gig. I mean, I had been a Star Wars fanatic since I was a kid. When I was a kid, my childhood heroes were Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, Bruce Lee, and Luke Skywalker. Those were my childhood heroes.
Nice.
And so I went to go see Return of the Jedi in the movie theaters 6 times. I was Luke Skywalker for Halloween twice. I was obsessed with Luke Skywalker, and although I was pissed because the first year my mom was supposed to give me like some sort of black galoshes or rain boots or something that looked like Luke Skywalker's boots, and she didn't, so I ended up having to wear church shoes. And so that didn't go over quite as well. I was a little upset about that, but
the costume wasn't complete.
Formal Luke.
It wasn't quite right. It was Luke going to a quinceañera, man. But yeah, those were my heroes, and I was hanging out with a buddy in school, and he had showed me. He said, "Hey, look, in a couple of years, they are going to have a new trilogy." And all of a sudden I thought, maybe I could actually work on Star Wars. And so that's really what drove me through school, is the idea that I was going to one day work on Star Wars. And then, episode 2 came, and then of course episode 3 came out in 2005, which means the production pre-production artwork was probably done 3 years before that. So I was a little bit too late to work on those things. And then there was sort of like this lull in activity until the Clone Wars series began, and that's when I thought there's a chance. And so, unfortunately, it all worked out, and I got to work on the show. And I was
I was gonna say, that's amazing that you had this dream, and then you actually achieved one of your dreams.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't Star Wars. It was Clone Wars, but it's still
part of the universe, and
Absolutely.
I think to have any sort of credit anywhere in that universe would be something that I would be super proud of. Like, I mean,
I was gonna ask,
it's not a nothing credit, like it's nothing to just be sloughed off. Like, you're part of the Star Wars universe.
Well, I was gonna ask,
so.
is your name on the Clone Wars credits at the end?
Yes, absolutely.
And how many times did you stop or how long did it take you first to kind of find your name? And then how many times did you stop and just sit there and watch like that is me?
Yeah, it's so I can't remember how they credited us, if it was like production artists or concept artists. I can't remember exactly how they credited us in the end credits, but I'm in there. I'm definitely in there all throughout season 3. Ironically, they were repurposing my assets all the way throughout the end of the show. Like, I was watching the show with my son, and it'd be like season 5, and I'm like, oh, there's a compass I designed. But unfortunately, I didn't get any credit for those episodes. But they were sure using my stuff, though. Was
that in like the fine print where they can now they own it?
Anything you make during your tenure there belongs to them, and they can.
Oh yeah, they absolutely. Like, it's actually pretty crazy. Like, when you work there, anything that you have to sign a contract stipulating that anything that you develop while you were there, any idea that you had, it all belongs to them. Yeah. Like, your dreams belong to them, bro. Like, everything belongs to them. I used to draw on paper a lot. I still do. But I was one of the only designers that drew heavily on paper first, and then I would scan and go and continue my work in the computer on the Cintiq. But I had stacks and stacks and stacks of drawings around my cube. And one day, the production manager comes by and says, okay, we're going to go ahead and take your drawings and we're going to file them away at Skywalker Ranch. And I said, what? And I said, I can't keep this. No, that's okay. We're going to get the production artists or production assistants in here, and they're going to go ahead and clean everything up and file it away. And I was like, okay. So I have stacks and stacks of drawings that are filed away in Skywalker Ranch till this day.
You're like probably just like as they're taking the piles, you're just like, I'm just gonna try to take this one and then take that and just try to save some. And they're like, no, give it back. It's all ours.
But at the same point, though, there's a part of you that's always a part of that now. Like, you're in the archives, right?
And at the end of the day, that is, again, like I said, it's so freaking cool that you can say that, yes, I am part of that franchise now, right? Like, your art, like you said, your dreams are part of that franchise right now, which is mind-blowing.
Absolutely. And what's really cool about it is Dave Filoni was really one of the nicest, one of the most intelligent directors that I had ever worked for. And I'd worked with a lot of directors, but he was by far, you will never hear me say a bad thing about Dave Filoni. He was top notch. And one of the things that he did very well was he didn't belittle the artists. He didn't treat us like pencil monkeys, right? In some situations, it's sort of like you are the hired hand to conjure up whatever some executive or some director sees in their mind. And, it's just the way it is sometimes. And, the trade-off is that you get a very nice salary, but sometimes they treat you like a little more than a pencil monkey. And, your ideas will get vetoed quite a bit. And you know that you can't argue with an art director. You're never going to win that fight, right? Yeah. But what Filoni would do was Filoni would give us a lot of input. And he would say, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? What's your thoughts? And he would say, here's my idea. I want to see how you solve it. And I would say probably about 75 or 80% of the time he would go with what we came up with. So we actually had a lot of input in the aesthetics and what was created visually for the show. And it was all because of the way that he treated us with respect. He treated us like professionals and like high level artists because we were. And so that was, I would hands down, not just the fact that I had dreamt about working for Lucasfilm and I finally did, but just the fact that I got to work with somebody who was quality like Filoni was a pleasure. Until this day, that's probably my fondest experience in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I think all the listeners are wondering, including Bretzky and I, did you get to meet George Lucas? Or you can't say. Just put your hands up and we'll move on.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but whatever, I'll say it. We were told in our orientation, if you see George Lucas, you are not to speak to him unless you are spoken to. And I imagine that Lucasfilm was probably filled with a bunch of fanboys like me who probably geeked out and drooled every time they saw George Lucas, and he probably just got tired.
Just couldn't get anything done. Couldn't walk through the building without it taking a day.
Yeah, so I wasn't offended, bro. I was like, hey, man, whatever you say. As long as I get to work on Star Wars, I don't care.
They didn't say anything about waving and writing big signs and being like, hey,
I'm your number one fan.
Right. So
having his face on your T-shirt every day.
You know what? I should have done that.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I think that would have been really cool. I don't know how involved was George Lucas with Clone Wars, because I know like with Star Wars he was I think he was fairly. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody. I just never really got into it. I knew the whole story before I ever seen the movies, because like I have lots of geeky friends, but I watched them, I enjoyed it, but I just don't go as crazy over the Star Wars. But as far as I know, like he was quite involved with the first stages of Star Wars.
Well, he was the director.
I mean, that was his baby. That was his mythology that he created. So George Lucas was heavily involved in anything to do with Star Wars. With the Clone Wars, he was slightly less involved. I think perhaps because you're doing seasons with, I would say, 20 episodes, around 20 episodes per season. Yeah. So, but with a movie, you're dealing with a, 3-act structure. It's going to be 2.5 hours or 2 hours, and he's going to see it through from beginning to end. Yeah. But in this situation, you're looking at, 22-minute episodes, and you're doing 20 of them. So I just don't think he had the bandwidth to be as involved with the Clone Wars. And so I think he leaned very heavily on Filoni to kind of guide the ship, which he did very well. He did have a lot of input. I mean, all the writers, like they would have these writer meetings at Skywalker Ranch, and it would be Filoni, him, I think his daughter Katie Lucas, and a couple other people were like the main writers for Clone Wars. And then he would give like very specific notes if he wanted a certain feel or a certain vibe for something. When I was doing the Altar of Mortis trilogy, I was designing the throne room for the evil brother, and the note that I got was that George wanted it to feel like an H.R. Geiger sort of design. And so I was like, Geiger, who's Geiger? And Filoni was like, Aliens. You ever seen Aliens? I was like, yeah. He goes, the guy who designed Aliens. And so I said, okay, cool. And so I start looking up Geiger, and dude, like, you talk about Geiger was one sick puppy.
Yeah, it's
bro.
Dark stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Like that was not light viewing. But what I did was I had to go and pull a bunch of reference of his stuff and just look at his aesthetics and how he drew things. And I try to incorporate a lot of those sensibilities and a lot of those aesthetics into what I was doing, and it came out pretty well. Apparently, from what I remember, George Lucas was super into Geiger, and he was also super into Mobius.
Oh,
nice.
Okay.
My big George Lucas fanboy thing is his work with Jim Henson, mainly the Labyrinth. That for me growing up was like one of I've probably watched that movie like 500,000 times. It's ridiculous how many times I've
never seen
that movie.
Never seen it.
You're missing out. It's a fantastic piece
it's
of
been
art.
on my list.
You get to see David Bowie's bulge for 2 hours.
Okay, so I'd like to move on from the Lucasfilms because we spent quite a bit of time on it.
Yeah.
Again, congratulations for being part of it. I know it's a huge achievement in your books, as it would be in anybody's books. But I noticed that you do have a school, a drawing school.
So I have what I call an art fundamental skill building program.
Okay.
It's called Grind Before Glory. Your viewers can look it up at grindbeforeglory.com. And basically, it's an 18-month program that is very intense. It works in 10-week blocks, right? So they'll have 3 classes per block, and there's 6 blocks total. So total the program lasts about 18 months. And the reason why I came up with the program is because there's a very serious problem within academia, and that is that art schools function a little bit too much like businesses and less like institutions of learning. And so a lot of these art schools will bank on their reputation to draw people in. And they'll make people feel, just by virtue of the fact that they are enrolled in this particular institution of learning, that they're going to walk out of school and walk right into Pixar or Disney or Lucasfilm or whatever. And nothing could be further from the truth. You being a student in a particular school means that you're going to be at Disney or Riot or Blizzard about as much as you being a member of 24 Hour Fitness means that you're going to be able to run a marathon, after a couple of years. It's about what happens while you're there. It's about the training that you get while you're there. And a lot of these schools, unfortunately, overpromise and underdeliver.
Right.
What do I mean by that? So, they understand that students are kind of like customers, and a lot of these students want to come in and everything now is on demand, right? There's this on demand mindset where if I want food, I pick up my phone, hit a couple buttons, and within 45 minutes, food will show up at my door. I don't have to exchange any money. I don't have to talk to anybody. It's just boom, it's instant. If I want any information, we basically walk around with a computer in our pockets. There's no more going to the library, looking up encyclopedias. There's none of that. It's all right here. On-demand TV, we pick up the remote control and we can literally watch just about any movie or TV show, any season, at any time that we want. So what's happened is a lot of young people, especially who may want to get into concept art, don't really want to put in the legwork. They don't want to do the grind. They just want the glory. And that's why I called my art fundamental skill building program Grind Before Glory, because I'm trying to explain to them that there are certain things that you have to do. You have to, before you can do that, you have to do all these other things, right? And my father used to say, you have to learn before you earn, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of these people, they want to jump right into concept art classes. They can't draw the human figure, but they want to design characters. And what happens is these schools will skim by the foundations, which are the most important part of your educational experience, and go right to the design classes. And what ends up happening is you have somebody who doesn't really have the tools or the skill to design, and yet they're in design classes trying to do character designs and creature designs and things like that. And it's kind of like, throwing somebody in a boxing ring to spar when they still haven't learned footwork, or they still haven't learned how to jab properly, or whatever it may be. It's just really foolish, right? You wouldn't do that. And yet art schools do this all the time. And unfortunately, I would say the vast majority of art schools do this. And it's really frustrating to me because, most people, unfortunately, think that art school is a bit of a scam. They think it's a waste of money and it's a waste of time, that pursuing art as a career is not really realistic. It's not really something that can actually happen. Why don't you just go be an accountant like your uncle so-and-so, or a nurse like your auntie, or whatever, right?
It's like I'm hearing my parents.
It's the arts in general, I think. Nobody values the arts, but take them away. Like the same goes with musicians. They get told, go get a real job and this and that. And it's like, okay, you think that music's not important? Turn off your radio then.
Absolutely.
Turn it off. Turn it off, because it doesn't matter. Anybody
what
can
I
do
tell people all the time is I tell them, hey, those glasses on your face, the shirt you're wearing, the shoes on your feet, the car you drive, the house you live in, it was all designed by an artist.
Yep.
So don't tell me that this isn't a valuable, viable career. But you have a lot of people that hear that and they'll go ahead and they'll oftentimes take the risk and pursue their dreams, and they'll end up in one of these, suspect art schools, and they'll walk out without the skill, without the portfolio, and they will have to hear a big fat "I told you so" for the rest of your life while they sit there trying to pick up the pieces with $100,000 in loans, trying to figure out what went wrong.
Yeah.
And it really bothers me because I feel like these art schools that do this are thieves. If you're not providing quality education, if you're not providing an education that can build skill to help people get to a professional level, you're really just stealing. And unfortunately, most of the time, people don't figure that out until like the end of their third, beginning of their fourth year, sometimes even after they've graduated. And at that point, what are you going to do? Go sue the school? So it really bothers me because these people take people's money and they also take their dreams. And so what I decided, I talked to a lot of people about this. I'm in academia. I've been an instructor part-time for part-time and full-time for 17 years. The last 10 years has been full-time. And, I built from scratch. I built the #1 program for concept art in the United States. It's been the #1 program for 3 years running. I wrote the BFA, the MFA. I've probably written somewhere around 25 classes. It was ranked #3 in the world at one point. And so I'm a master curriculum designer because I understand what it takes to go from zero to the top. And one of the things that I understand is that strong foundations is absolutely essential to your ability to be able to produce high-level concept art. It doesn't matter if the roof goes bad, you can replace the roof, but if your foundation is bad, if there's something wrong with the foundation of the house, now you've got real trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
You're bringing back flashbacks right now. Please stop talking about house foundations. But seriously, in all seriousness, though, like, congratulations, big time, because that's also a very huge accomplishment.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I'm really excited about it because I feel like, what I'm doing is I'm building something that is going to give people a fighting chance. You're going to come here, you're going to train, you're going to work your behind off, but you're going to come out with actual skill and then be able to continue your education, whether that's at, a 4-year, university, or maybe taking some online classes at one of these online schools or whatever it may be, but you'll at least have those foundations in place. Whereas unfortunately, most of these schools aren't offering this level of quality in terms of their course because they just dial it in. Like a lot of times, here's what a lot of these schools realize. If statistically, if somebody stays past their second semester, the likelihood that they'll finish their 4-year degree skyrockets. So what they try to do is they try to make the first year really easy. So you just kind of skate through.
Yeah.
And then of course it'll ratchet up. But what they don't realize is that the first year is probably the most critical. So for me, I'm saying, hey, give me 18 months of your life, and at a fraction of the cost of one of these big art schools, I'm going to give you a far superior education because my educational philosophy is absolutely foolproof. So, and some of the biggest people in the industry were formerly my students, so I'm like, it's time to step out in faith and just build something that I believe could help solve this problem and be an asset to the art community and see where it goes from there.
Now, I got to ask with concept art. Now, I mean, I assume like art school gets thrown out there. Like when you say art school, that's probably as general as saying doctor school, right? Like, because there's so many different forms of art, from everything from, cartoon style to hyper realism to, whatever all these different styles may be. So like with looking through what you had on your page there, like you, like almost any artist, have a very, recognizable specific style. Like, is there a certain style that is specific to concept design, or is there a place for the different artistic styles in there where some people are going to want a more someone who's going to do like these very realistic representations over a cartoony representation? Like, if they're doing it for a real movie, do they want you to be able to look more realistic in your concept art and everything like that as well? Or
yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, any number of styles are going to be viable in the industry. It depends on, genre, the target demographic, whether it's a comedy or action or drama, or whether it's dark or light. The aesthetics that you use have to coincide with whatever story it is that you're trying to tell. And so there's room for everybody. I know people who do a very cartoony style and have been very successful working for Disney or for Netflix for a very long time. I know people who do hardcore, realistic sort of concept art, and they've been very successful working for Marvel Studios for a very long time. I know people who do sort of a hybrid style, and they've been working for Riot for years. Really, what's more important than style is building up your foundational skills. Again, so that's why when I thought about what am I going to do, I thought this is the most important aspect of concept art. It is the foundations. If you can draw well at a very high level, if you can paint at a very high level, then I can make you into a concept art. If you can't draw and if you can't paint, there's nothing I can do with you. So I can design all the cool concept art classes, character design, creature design, environment design, mech design, whatever it is. But if you can't draw worth a damn, and if you can't paint your way out of a paper bag, then I really can't do anything for you. It's like somebody who's 300 pounds going to run a marathon. It's like, no, homeboy, before you start training for the marathon, you've got to lose about 150 pounds and then come back. So that's kind of foundations, is losing that 150 pounds, and then studying concept art is in training for the marathon. So, the way that I look at it is, if you are a high level draftsman and a high level painter, and you begin to understand the psychology of shape, line, color, and value, because there's a lot of different elements that go into being a concept artist. It's not just drawing well and painting well. It's also understanding psychology on a certain level, understanding architecture on a certain level, and just how aesthetics impact human beings emotionally. And so, with that, once you have that foundation of knowledge and skill, at that point, you can move laterally throughout the art world from style to style. Now, I have certain styles that I prefer to draw in because I like the way it looks. So it's a matter of taste. But if I needed to draw Powerpuff Girls tomorrow, I could do it.
Yeah,
I'm a stylistic chameleon. It might take me a little practice just to kind of get my brain, get my brain in that mode. But I could do it. What I always tell people is, don't focus on style. Focus on skill first, and then style second. Sort of like again, going back to my boxing analogy, you've got to learn basic footwork. You've got to learn how to throw a jab, how to throw a straight right, a right cross, a left hook, an uppercut. And once you learn these basic punches, then the style that you use as a boxer, that comes later. Like Floyd Mayweather didn't just start thinking about style first. He had to learn certain basic things, and once he learned these basics and he mastered the basics, then he began to incorporate his style based on how he likes to fight, based on his strategies, based on his body type, and things like that. So it's kind of the same thing, and that's why I tell these anime kids, because I swear, man, you can't. Every kid that comes to you is drawing anime, and it's like, okay, that's very cool. I see you have some aptitude for art, and you have learned the symbols of anime very well, but you still don't know how to draw.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you bring that up, because so you've seen some of my drawings that I've done. Very, very basic. Like I don't consider myself an artist at all. But my one of my classmates, he's all into anime. That is his thing. So all his drawings were very anime like the eyes were more anime, which again
bigger with the glare.
Yeah, but like to me, like I don't think I could draw that, because like I find with anime, like the shading is very, very similar to every character. Whereas like I was more like, and again, this class that I'm taking, it's again it's graphic design, and part of it is drawing too, but we didn't learn any basics. We went through a lecture a little bit, but we didn't grind it like you said, like, okay, keep doing the eye, keep doing only a nose, we didn't do any of this. Luckily, I find like I've always loved drawing as a kid, and like I had no problem if I was looking at a picture, I can draw it up similarly. Maybe it was off a little bit, but I could do it.
You can recreate it.
So I kind of impressed myself when the instructor was like, okay, I want you to draw something related to the Canadian Football League, then something to the NHL, and then draw a self-portrait. I'm like, are you kidding me? How am I gonna do this? And then what I ended up doing is I drew up like I traced like the outline a little bit first, because when I tried to do it without the tracing, it was way off. So I was like, okay, I need that help for myself just to get me started. Once I had the outline, I knew what to do, right? But I kind of missed that. I don't have that. Like I can't just take a piece of paper and then I can't do that. Yeah, I can't translate my brain to the paper. Like I can see a real beautiful picture up here, but making that happen with my hand and a pencil or whatever. And I wish when I was 20 years old, thinking like, oh, I don't know, I should go to school, and like, what do I like? Well, I don't know, like, I didn't really care, but I looked at the first class that was 75% hands-on, and the shortest time, I just wanted to get a job and get a good paying job, and that's what I did. And I regret that I didn't actually try to rediscover a little bit, like, okay, what do I really want to do? What do I enjoy, and how can I turn my hobby into something that could earn me some money, right? And it's 10 years too late, or 12 years, 13 years too late, but here I am making that change, because I realized I hate my current job. I can't stand just working in a stupid factory. I don't care how good the pay is. I want to do what I enjoy doing, and the drawing part to me was so relaxing. Like the last couple of years during the pandemic, I've never had to deal with anxiety or depression. The last 2 years kind of hit me hard, and this was when I was drawing. This was the very first time in a long time where I felt home, and I felt calm, and I felt like nothing can destroy me right now. And that was just because I was like, my head was down, looking at the paper, and I was just drawing away, and it was so relaxing, and I'm so happy I'm doing it. And that once I'm done my course, again, I'm going to be looking for a job, but I slowly want to develop my own skill, where I'm going to hopefully turn that into a career and just make some living out of it.
I just want to piggyback off of that, because you said when you're done this, hopefully, you'll go and get a job. And I was going to actually ask Michael that, like, okay, you get to the point now, okay, you've honed the craft, right? Like you've got the technical down, you've got the style down. Now what? Like, where do you apply? How do you, like, there isn't, just like the graphic or the concept artist store where you walk in and put in an application. you obviously have to apply at whatever film companies, game companies, and all that. But what is the process like? Where do you go to look for those types of postings or something like that?
That's a great question, and before you get to that point, having the skill is great, but it's not just about making pretty pictures, right? That's very good, but that's only one part of it. What you have to be able to show a company is that you can do production artwork. And what that means is they can stick you in a production pipeline, and you can do your part of the production, and then that can be moved up the pipeline to the next person in line. So the next person that comes after the concept artist is typically the 3D modeler. So what we have to do as concept artists is we have to answer every question before it's asked. So we have to design all the characters, all the props, all the vehicles, things like that. Then we have to do things like orthos, that's turnarounds or orthographic drawings showing things from every angle. So when that modeler is modeling it, it can look at your turnaround and reference that and understand what it looks like from a front view, from a side view, from a 3/4 front, from a 3/4 rear, from a back view, whatever, top down, you know, whatever is necessary. And if there's, you know, gesture, you know, like movement that you need to exhibit, or, you know, showing them using their powers, or expression charts, or call outs that you have to have. Let's say he wears a cowl, but you need to see what they look like without the cowl, or you need to see what the figure looks like without the flowy dress, you know, whatever it is, you know, you'll have to show that in what's called a model pack. And once that model pack is completed, then that can be handed off to the 3D modeler, and then they can take that and then create the 3D model, which then is moved up the pipeline to the rigger and things like that, and then it's, you know, put in game and or you know, in the engine. But short of exhibiting that you can do those things, a company's not going to hire you. Yeah, because it's a tremendous investment to bring somebody on. You know, they're getting all your paperwork, your benefits, they're getting your station set up just like you like it, you know, with the equipment that you need and things like that. And so it's a big hassle of time and money and things like that to get somebody set up in a studio. And there's really very little interest to find out whether or not somebody could do the job. They have to know ahead of time. And so you have to exhibit those things in your portfolio. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is having pretty pictures, but not really having production art showing, hey, if you stick me in this production pipeline, I'm going to get in there like clockwork and just start banging stuff out. That's what they want. And so that's the biggest, I think, most important thing that people need to understand about putting together a portfolio. And then once that's done, then you can go on places like LinkedIn, you know, and do searches for like concept art jobs, and things will pop up, you know, video game companies, film companies, animation companies. And then you just start spreading your stuff out like the leaves of autumn. You know, having social media is cool too, because sometimes people will find, I mean, I've looked on ArtStation, and, you know, I don't look on it very often. I probably should look at it more, but I've had messages from people, you know, that were like 2 months old saying, hey, we love your work. It's perfect for what we want to do. Can you contact us? And I'm like, oh, hey, sorry, I don't really check this often. Here's my email if you ever want to work together in the future. But, you know, people will find you that way. But really, it's just about going and finding where the jobs are, and then just going and sending out resumes.
The pizza oven is dedicated to the highest quality pie that the whole family can enjoy. With their amazing sauce and the freshest ingredients, the pizza oven is here to provide quality and a great tasting pizza to Winnipeg and East St. Paul. They use a delicious blend of mozzarella cheese and make their pizza crust daily, both thick and thin, and their meats are proudly provided by Winnipeg Old Country. They're located at 1215 Henderson Highway, Unit D in Winnipeg. Call them today at 204-949-3000 because everyone's loving the pizza oven. And tell them the VIPod sent you by using promo code VIPod5 for 5% off of your order, and order online for an additional 5% off for a grand total of 10% off of your order.
We would like to take a moment to say a great big thank you to our lead sponsor, SafetyNet Studio, for bringing us to all major platforms under their banner. SafetyNet Studio is a boutique audio company. They produce podcasts, offer voice work, and create content for radio stations across North America. You can head to safetynetstudio.com and check out music news you can use that's covering the chart toppers and floppers. It's a daily 6 to 7 minute pod that keep you up to date with all your active rock and top 40 favorites. You can also hear music news you can use on your local radio station. I'd like to go back to your program. So, is that how do you provide that program? Is that all in person or is it online?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. It's so what we're doing is we're doing a virtual school. Okay, it's a virtual program. Now, one of the benefits of this whole COVID experience was that people got acclimated to this whole Zoom platform.
Yeah.
Okay? So we don't need to be in the same place to have a dope podcast, right?
Exactly.
You guys are in Canada.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in San Francisco. You know, and we're talking in real time and having a good time, and so people have gotten acclimated to the Zoom sort of environment. And so we just said, you know, I originally wanted to do a brick and mortar sort of shop, right?
Yeah.
But what I realized was there's a lot of cost involved for everybody, the students, us, you know. So if we just do it this way, where it's virtual, people can stay wherever they are, you know,
In the comfort
Rochester,
of their
New
own
York,
home, yeah.
yeah, Orlando, Florida, Dallas, Texas, you know, LA, you know, where Canada, wherever they are, they can study with us. And the difference between what we're doing and other online schools is that these online schools are what you call asynchronous. So what that means is somebody comes on, watches a series of videos. You can't really ask questions in real time or interact in real time with the instructor. But once you're done, you do your homework, you turn it in, and then the instructor would typically make like a feedback video kind of grading your homework. And that's how people will learn. There might be some light interaction on like a discussion board or something like that. But beyond that, it's asynchronous. And it's real tough to really grow that way. It requires a lot of discipline. And unfortunately, not a lot of people have the level of discipline necessary to be consistently successful in that asynchronous environment. So by us doing it in a live synchronous environment, we're just virtual. What that allows is real-time interaction, real-time critique, real-time feedback, real-time question asking, real-time interaction with your peers. And the only thing is that you're doing it maybe in your pajamas at home. Yeah. You know. So,
and do you do day and night classes, or is it all like, is it just once a day that you run, or?
Well, we're launching June 13th. So we haven't actually launched yet, but we're launching June 13th, and it's looking like with the number of students that we have, we'll have enough students to split into two separate tracks. So we're going to have a track where and I think in Pacific Standard Time. So we're going to have a track where I'll run everything at a time that works for, you know, people on the West Coast and the East Coast. So maybe like, let's say 4 p.m. And then we'll have another track that runs in the early morning in Pacific Standard Time, because that's early evening in Europe. Yeah. So because we're getting a lot of international interest as well. So we're trying to make it so that people have options. So yeah, we're gonna do both a time that's good for people in Europe and a time that's good for people in the States as well.
That is amazing. Yeah, it's super well. That's the joy of doing it virtually, that you are opening your doors to the whole world, not just people in San Francisco, right? So really good way. Like nowadays, social media it's amazing. If you do it right, you can reach really everybody that has internet. And yeah, you're open the door to anybody really across the whole world. And I wish you nothing but the best with this course. It sounds like it's something I should have done before I applied to my course. You know, it's never I know it's never too late. So you know what? I mean, I got to pay for this course, but then in the future, you know, if I ever definitely want to improve my drawing skills, it's something I would definitely consider. I've looked at many online courses before, and I was very hesitant to apply and pay for something because, you know, I was like, first time, like, holy crap, like this shit ain't cheap, you know? And
Right.
now that I started doing it, I'm like, okay, I totally understand where the cost goes and what I'm getting for the money, because I mean, really, you want to be a doctor, I don't think you're gonna pay for schooling less than $100,000. And so everything costs money, but you're paying for that skill that really will just boost your skills that you have. And I love that. Like, do you have? I checked out briefly your website, and it's you have different packages on there, I noticed.
Yeah. So on Grind Before Glory, we have different price points. If people want to pay everything up front, there's a discount. If you pay in crypto like Bitcoin or Ethereum, there's a discount.
Okay.
And
smart. That's
yeah. Hey man, if you pay up front in crypto, I mean, we'll stash that crypto in a wallet and watch it go up. You know?
Exactly.
So that's why we try to incentivize people to pay in crypto. But actually, what we decided about a month ago, we need to update the website, is that we're gonna slash all prices by 25% for the first three programs that we run, as a way to incentivize people to become a part of that first wave, but also to say thank you for people who are willing to take the risk, because it is a risk, because we don't have we're starting from the ground up, so we don't have the reputation that's there, so that people can just say, oh, I heard that's a great school. Like, they don't know, so they're taking some sort of risk, right? So if people are willing to take that risk, they buy into what we're selling, and to what we're preaching, we want to reward them. So we're cutting everything by 25%. So huge discounts.
Absolutely. That's massive. I mean, I tried to play that with my school. I was like, hey, do you guys have any incentives? And I mean, I got a 5% off if I paid it in full. I'm like, okay, I'm still taking a student loan, but at least it's 5% less. So whatever, right. I did that. But I decided to go with the safe route and go with a college that is known. It's known across Canada. And the program itself is very good, because they have instructors that they've been the students there, and they're also ones that they've been at the firing point of the graphic industry, And it is a good program. It's focused more on the graphic design. It's not really focused on drawing, but that's, I think. Right now, I feel like that is what I want to do, because I really do enjoy making company logos. I started off by doing band logos, actually. Nice. My band, we recorded our first album, and we're like, well, actually, yeah, that's one of my band's T-shirts. I didn't design that. That was a buddy of mine that designed it, actually. But I designed. So we really wanted to release our first album, and I was just like, okay, well, we need artwork, for our CD. And I asked a couple buddies, and we asked like professional designers, and they're like, yeah, we can design it like, $750. At that time, I'm like, we're just a local band, like we're not paying that much. And I was like, wait a second. At one point, I was taking some courses at college, and I was like, I had to take a 40-hour computer class, of course, anything. Could have been Microsoft Windows or what. And one of the classes was Photoshop, so I ended up taking it. I still had the Photoshop CS4 CD, and I was like, wait a second. Like, I was like, guys, I think I can make this work, And I ended up designing with my buddies. My buddy did a little bit of artwork, and I kind of did everything else, like all the writing and design of the CD and all that. And I was just like, I freaking love this, and kind of a couple other bands approached me like, hey, can you do ours? And then that's how I kind of got into, like, I love doing the band logos and company logos, and I really enjoy that. So that's why I saw this program very fit for myself. But again, seeing your work, I would definitely recommend and be interested in taking your class for sure at some point. If that's where my path goes, I will definitely give you a call, and you're gonna have a student from Canada too.
I mean, one thing that really resonated with me with what you said earlier was how you sort of, you liked art, but you took sort of like a safe route because you felt like it was a stable job and things like that. And I really admire you for, recognizing that you sold yourself short and you settled, and now you're going back to school and pursuing something that you love. And, even having enough foresight to say, I really enjoy this a lot more than whatever I'm doing right now. It's something in the arts, but I don't want to stop there either. I want to keep growing. So I love that, and you're exactly the type of person that we want, and what I always tell people is it's never too late to become a concept artist. I was fortunate enough to, at a very young age, recognize that I didn't like to do crap else but draw and make music. Yeah. And so I built my life around that. But, not everybody is willing to take that risk until they realize, wow, this sucks. I definitely need to go back to doing something that I love. So I'm glad you did that, because here's the thing. Not a lot of people do. A lot of people will say, this really sucks, but darn, the money is good. They got those golden handcuffs on, and they can never break away. And they end up sitting, you wonder why so many people are depressed, why so many people have anxiety issues. I would say a large part of people who struggle with depression and things like that are doing something professionally other than what they truly are passionate about. Yeah.
No, I'm going to quote again Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is?
Of course.
And so, I really have to thank him, because I was one of those bitching on Sunday night. Oh, I have to go to work tomorrow again. It's Monday. Oh my God, I hate it. There you go. And it's, I made the change by following Gary Vaynerchuk's thing, saying that, treat your Monday as this was your last Monday, right? I can't be miserable on Monday just because it's Monday. I'm gonna have the best Monday I can have. So I started doing that at work, and when people saw me in the morning, I'm like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, it's Monday. How are you?" I'm like, "I am doing fantastic." And they're like, "What the hell is wrong with you, buddy?" I'm like, "Nothing. You know what? I'm just gonna enjoy my day, because I know I only have to be here for 8 hours, and then I'm gonna go home and do what I love doing." And they were just so miserable, and mostly those were the people that worked there 25, 30 plus years. And I was like, and that's when it hit me, like, my God, that will be me, in 20 years, and I cannot do that. I cannot. I'm not gonna allow myself to get there. And that's where I started making the change. Okay, what I can do. And I was like, okay, well, I used to do this. And then the band thing happened. I was like, holy crap, light bulb. There we go.
No, and I got to say, too, like, I'm, just pushing 40 right now. And it's already that feeling creeping in of like, okay, what have I done with my life? Like, we're already getting into the back half now here.
Whereas we have Michael here saying, well, yeah, I worked for George Lucas, like, God damn it.
No, well, I mean, for me, here's the thing. Like, I am a very ballsy person. I'm a risk taker.
You have to
be. I am a gambler, And the reason why is because, I grew up in a very tough neighborhood, right? And so there's a lot of people who didn't make it out. A lot of my friends got buried as teenagers, and in their 20s. A lot of people I know are serving life in the penitentiary. I was one of the lucky ones that was able to get out. And so, I realized that I had a very special opportunity to do something important with my life. And I just decided I'm not going to be regular. I'm not going to be average. I'm not going to be mediocre. I'm not going to be what everybody else is. Damn stability. I'm going to go after what I love, and I'm going to pursue it with the same sort of passion that I would pursue anything else that I was going to do for the rest of my life. And and I figured, hey, if I follow my passions, the money will come. Somebody somewhere is going to pay me some money to do what I love once I get good enough. And so that was my thing. I'm going to do this or I'm going to die trying. And I didn't give myself a plan B. Screw that. If I need a plan B, that means that my plan A isn't really a plan A. Yeah. So, I went full tilt, headlong over the precipice. And, a lot of people thought that was unwise. They thought that was too risky. And I was okay with people saying those things to me because those people were just regular. They were just average. I wasn't meant to be average. I was meant to be exceptional. So I went ahead and I took those risks, and those risks paid off because most of the people who told me that I was being imprudent and unwise and that the risks that I was taking were too great, I make more money than most of those people now. So it all worked out for me, baby. I have no regrets because not only do I make decent money, but I also do whatever the hell I want. And it's freaking awesome. So
congrats.
I'll cheers to that. Loads. We say loads instead of cheers on our show.
Loads.
Yeah, no, I mean, I always love hearing a story like that. And I love my wife, and she doesn't listen to the show very often. In case she listens to this, I love you very much, honey. But she is.
An I love you, but here we go. Here, I'm actually gonna get out of the shot while he says this part here. I don't want to be any part of this.
She is. Well, first of all, congrats to her because what she does for a living, that was her dream job since she was a little girl.
Wow.
And that's amazing. She loves her job, and good for her. And, but she's very conservative. She likes that security. Like, well, you have a good secure job, you can't just quit. And we had, it took me a year to apply to my school because we had discussions that sure. I was like, I hate my life. I need to make that change, and she wasn't willing to agree to that because that means if I'm working full time and I'm going to school full time, that means she has to pick up the extra slack around the house. I have 2 kids, it's a lot of work. So I also understood why she's putting up these barriers, right? But we've, like I said, it literally was a year-long discussion. And we realized together that, it's really time for me to make that leap of faith and go do this. And we knew it's going to be a long 15, 18 months or however long the program is. But, here we are. We're doing it. We're surviving. We're exhausted. But I know, and she knows that it's worth it and following my dream. And I know I'm going to be happier in my life together with her and my kids in the future, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
absolutely. I mean, that's a great move, and the fact that you're willing to take that risk is amazing, and the fact that she's willing to support you is amazing. Because look, I mean, I grew up around a lot of people who, their parents, their fathers worked miserable jobs for 25, 30, 35 years. And they would come home, drink themselves into a stupor, and then abuse their wife and kids because they were just miserable, bro. They were miserable. They weren't doing something that they were passionate about. I mean, they had the Monday blues, and then it was Happy Friday. And the way I look at it is, I never stopped working. I work pretty much 7 days a week, with the exception of I take one break a week. But other than that, I'm working. Why? Because my work is my play, and my play is my work.
So, technically you're not working because you're just doing your hobby, right?
Exactly. I mean, look, my father used to always say, if you do what you love for a living, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. I also know you have a couple books, right?
Yes. Yeah, I have. I have about 6 different books that I've released.
Okay.
Points over the last 10 years, but recently I think one of them is available on Amazon, but recently I've got into Gumroad because it's really cool. I can upload the digital PDF of the books, and then people can pay a price and download them. And so I have one book, it's called Boom Volume 2, which is a follow-up to an animated style book that I did years ago. And this is a really cool, like, I think it's 200 pages. And I believe there's 1,001 drawings in the entire book, in the entire 200 pages.
Wow.
So there are tons of drawings. There's probably almost 500 head studies in there. It's a great resource for anybody who is a designer or anything like that. And then I also recently released a book bundle of my Imperfect figure drawing series. So I have 2 figure drawing books, Imperfect Volume 1 and Volume 2. And I used to sell the hard copies of those at trade shows for probably around $25 to $30 each. And I realized that this was something that was very valuable. And so I said, I'm going to release this as a digital download, both of them as a bundle for $10 or both. And I kind of hesitated, like, should I, shouldn't I? I'm really, this is really underpriced. But really what it was about was putting something out into the community that could help people. And, I'm not going to really make, any money off of this, but it's getting out there and it's a resource that's helping people grow. And I wanted to bless the community that was blessing me.
Right.
So I just said, screw it, and it's been great because, it's not so costly that people balk at the cost. I mean, they're getting 2 books for $10, and everybody who's gotten the books have absolutely loved them. These books have, some of the best artists in the world have these books and absolutely love them. I'm talking high level concept artists are big fans of these books. In fact, there's a guy by the name of Michael Matezi, and he wrote a book series called Force Drawing. And I gave him a copy of, I think it was Volume 2, as a thank you. And I just told him, you were a big inspiration for me, and here's a thank you. And I ran into him at another trade show and I said, hey, do you remember me? I'm the one who gave you the book. He's like, oh yeah. He goes, I love the book. He said, in fact, when I was working on my Force Anatomy book, I pulled your book off of the shelf and I was referencing it.
Wow.
So that's cool.
Yeah. So, that's how valuable these books are to people in the industry. And so I just said, you know what, I'm going to sell them both for $10 as a bundle and put it out there. And so far, everybody who's gotten the book has loved it. I mean, what can you not love? You're skipping lunch one time,
And now, I got to ask, because you've obviously, you do a bit of everything. And as we mentioned way earlier in the show, you're also a musician. Have you ever toyed with the idea of doing, I don't know if you're familiar with Coheed and Cambria or bands like that, where they've done graphic art novels that go alongside with their albums. So the album is almost like a soundtrack to the graphic novel series that he releases. It's really cool.
Actually, I that's the first time. That's a great idea. I mean, I've thought about doing animated videos, or maybe doing some artwork. I mean, I do all my cover art and things like that, but I never actually thought about doing a graphic novel to coincide with an album. I think that's really dope.
Yeah, check out Coheed and Cambria, or Claudio Sanchez is the artist / writer for.
Okay, I'll do that. I think that's a fantastic idea. I mean, doing a story and then having the music coincide with it, and then having a graphic novel. Yeah, I think that's great.
And they even actually they kind of did the Star Wars thing too, where their first album was number 2. So it went 2, 3, 4, and then they kind of jumped off to some other storylines and came back and forth. But yeah, it's they did that sort of thing just to tie it in with everything too.
I have to check it out, man. I think that's great. That's fantastic. I'm gonna actually bring that up to my team. See, what do you guys think about this?
Credit to VIPod for the idea.
No, credit to Claudio Sanchez.
He doesn't need to know. No. So I wouldn't, if you're willing to share some of your skills with us live on screen, we would love that. And you could tell us a little bit about Drawaholics Anonymous. What is really Drawaholics Anonymous? Is that just your online persona, or that is your actual business name? So if you want to share
Well,
your screen with
so
Photoshop and you
my,
can
my
you could talk while you draw, I wonder if we could do that.
yeah. Let's see, if you enable the screen sharing, then I will draw.
Yes, I will.
But yeah, so Drawaholics Anonymous is this dope community that essentially, when people join, they agree to do 2,500 drawings in a year, 1,000 heads, 500 legs, 500 arms, 250 hands, 250 feet. And all right, so let's draw a male character here. You guys tell me what his occupation is going to be. What's his body type?
Just make him hot.
Make him hot. All right. But yeah, so they do 2,500 drawings in a year from the date that they sign the contract, and that's part of it. But and there's other challenges that they can do subsequent to that. But it's really just about creating a community that creates a culture of excellence where people are serious about their craft, and it's been amazing, and it's now grown to become an international community with over 700 people in it, and it's growing rapidly by the day. So Drawaholics Anonymous has been a great blessing. It's free, so people don't have to pay any money, and yet they're connected with people from beginners to people who are in the industry and everywhere in between. And it's a really cool, I think, really cool sort of, I think, thing to be a part of for people, especially when they're just starting out. I wish I would have had something like that when I was just starting out. And that's kind of what I do now is I oftentimes will create the things that I wish existed when, I was, just starting out, like Drawaholics Anonymous, like Grind Before Glory.
Yeah.
Things like that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing like a little preliminary setup for a character, just kind of.
And are you using a mouse, or do you have like a stylus with a pad sort of thing that you?
So I have what's called a Wacom Cintiq, and that is an online drawing like monitor, I guess, that I draw directly on top of, and I'm using this as a stylus pen. And I'm drawing it's very similarly to how I would draw with pencil. When I'm drawing with pencil, oftentimes I will forego this step and just kind of do it all together. But the luxury of doing it this way is that I can work in layers, and then what I'll do in a second is once I get this layer down and I figure out costume and things like that, I will turn these beginning layers off and then just go and do something clean on top of it. So, but oftentimes if I'm just trying to figure out body type, this is what I'll do. I'll just kind of, actually, let me shrink this down a little bit. What I'll do is I'll figure out like what's happening with the anatomy, and just kind of get body type down, and then I'll figure out like costume elements and things like that later. But so I'm just kind of thinking about anatomy and thinking about like body type, musculature, and things like that. I'm gonna make a villain here, a hot villain.
Good.
Make sure I get that note in there. And the cool thing about here is that I don't need to be as precise. I could kind of take a few chances, because if I don't quite nail something, it's okay, because I can tweak it with the transform tool, or like these legs feel a little bit too long, so I can go like this. So that's one of the beauties of working digitally. But I always tell people, that's cool, and there are reasons why we would work digitally professionally.
Yeah.
But it's not the be all end all. Like, you want to be able to be just as fluid traditionally as you are digitally, because you may not always have digital tools available,
Right.
So right now I'm just kind of roughing this out. I'm thinking about hairstyle. I may not go with something like that. But anyway, so let's say I've got my body type down, and I'm going to go with this.
I'm liking this. He's looking like an evil Bon Jovi, so you're nailing the hot part.
Right? Those notes, seriously, man. So once I get that down, for example, then I'll take this, I'll drop the opacity on this, and then I'll change my color so that I could separate the two, and then I'll kind of draw some costume elements. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm thinking about costume and how that's going to work with what I've created here. I'm going to have him sleeveless because it's got to be hot, right?
Yeah.
And then
might want to show some belly button too, just in case.
I don't know about the navel, man. I don't know about navel.
Is that look not coming back again? Like the mesh shirt from the 80s?
I think it's going to be a while before that comes back. Actually, I'm going to fight that one tooth and nail.
Well, I've got my investments all in the wrong spot then. God, jeez.
Hey, you got to know what you want in life, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm obviously, what's up, Kit? I'm just kind of laying down some costume elements here. And now that I've gotten this sort of figured out, then I can go ahead and start the cleanup process. So I don't do a lot of this on TikTok when I do my lives, because for whatever reason, people don't seem to like to enjoy the digital stuff as much as the traditional, which is too bad because I think it's all kind of cool, but whatever. So all right, so then I'll take these right here, throw them into a group, turn down the opacity, and then I'll take a black pencil here, and this is where I really zoom in and start to go to town. So this is where I'm really trying to add detail and character, and I'm thinking about anatomy and things like that. I'm obviously stylizing when I'm not referencing heavily. A lot of times I'll draw with a little bit more style, you know, or pushed anatomy, because it's just easier. It gives me a little bit more freedom.
Right.
But you know, you still want to have that 1 foot grounded in reality. Like proportion has got to look right, regardless.
Yeah. I think that's, at least in my opinion, when I try to draw, I think proportion and you know, getting that proper aspect for the angle as well. Like his head is turned, so you can't just draw the same two eyes. One eye is going to be, you know, slightly different than the other because of the angle and all. And that's the stuff that I can't translate from my brain onto paper. Like I don't have that skill, and it gets frustrating because I'm definitely guilty of going down these rabbit holes of watching people do these drawings on Facebook and stuff like that, the time lapses of them and stuff like that, and sometimes it's not even a time lapse, but like, you know, every line you draw, I'm like, I could draw that line, I could draw that line, I could draw that, but then you go and you try to draw a line, and I come up with an ugly stick man. Like, it's just
right. Well, I mean, you're right. You know, you can draw all these lines. You know, it's just about developing the instincts of knowing when to use what type of lines, how to use what type of lines, for what purpose. You know, with this guy, for example, I definitely want him to appear, you know, villainous and evil. So I'm using some sharper angles and some sharper line work. Whereas if he were a hero, for example, I might square things up just a little bit more.
right.
But I'm purposely trying to find places where I can add some sharpness to the design for the purpose of making him seem a little bit more villainous. Because, you know, when you talk about the psychology of shape, you know, for example, sharp, you know, points and things like that are going to come across as evil because sharp points psychologically read as threatening. to human
Well,
beings.
yeah, like looking at the eyes right now, right? Like, or the eyebrows. Like, yeah, that person like that is not going to be saving the princess.
No, you know what? I saw a thing about that one time on Facebook, and it was all about eyebrows. They basically took all of these heroes and just gave them angrier looking eyebrows, and they all just looked so much more evil,
Right.
just by having some like bushy pointed eyebrows.
Yeah.
Kind of like.
Yeah, it's definitely really, you know, about the psychology of shape. There's, when you see a lot of these designs that you see in, you know, video games and film and things like that, trust me when I say those shapes are there for a reason. They have been really well thought out. The emotional impact of these particular shapes has been thought out by you know, the designers and a number of people. There may have even been a few arguments about whether or not something would read a certain way, but ultimately nothing is done just by chance. Everything is done very deliberately, very purposely, to evoke a certain emotional reaction from the viewer or the player or whatever, because it's all about making sure that people react to the visual stimuli in the way that you want them to, because, you know, the director wants people to have a certain experience when certain characters come onto the screen. You know, when you see Darth Vader, you know, you're not going, oh my gosh, that is so cute, right?
Yeah.
But when you see Winnie the Pooh, you are, right? Because you want to have certain emotional reactions in certain situations. Now you can see how I took that and boom, you know, and so that's basically why I like working in these layers and things like that. And, you know, obviously I'm still moving a little quickly and stuff like that, but this is sort of the long and short of how you know, how I think through designs. When, you know, if I was actually doing an actual design, I wouldn't be doing this finish until you know, I'd had lots of discussions, lots of preliminary work.
Absolutely.
You know, because you know, time is money, right? So for you to go on to this level of finish,
And they could just be like, no.
yeah, exactly. You know, people get real butthurt and frustrated when, you know, they've spent a lot of time on a design and it doesn't get approved. And so it's like you really want to do a low risk, high reward approach. And that's why doing thumbnails and preliminary works and iterations is so absolutely important, because it gives you the opportunity to figure something out, whether it's working or not, very quickly without having to spend an exorbitant amount of time on it. Because it does suck when you spend a lot of time on something and it gets vetoed very quickly. And you might have really believed in that. And I have been known to, on occasion, sneak old drawings back into the new drawing pile. But, you know, for the most part, it's just part of the process, you know, part of how it goes.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I like created one character I could draw in high school, and I used that character forever. Like I just kept recycling it for everything I did. Yeah, I could draw. It looks great.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's a lot of people, dude. Like a lot of people find something that works for them, and yeah, like you ever see like older dudes, like you know, the way they dress, it's like how whenever they were doing the best in life, whenever you know that they're just sort of like a time lapse of that, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, a lot of people are the same way when it comes to art. You know, they'll find something that worked for them and just kind of stick with them. That's why you see all the anime kids, you know, drawing the anime over and over and not really wanting to do anything else. And it's like, you know, it's really hard to get them to trust you that, hey, I know you can do this really well and you produce work that you like, but if you do this, I promise you'll be able to do that and better.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes it's one of those situations where like they don't know what they don't know, and they just kind of, I'm gonna take those nipples off. That's not right. yeah, you want
It was like
them
the what was it, the Batman there? Val Kilmer's
Kilmer,
Batman, where even the bat suit had the nipples on it, and it got panned so hard.
Yeah.
wow, yeah.
And Michael, like this is again like for people that are going to just listen to it, we recommend you go on our YouTube channel and watch this part. If you don't want to watch the whole episode, definitely check out this part because it's you get the visual of what Michael's work is, and you know we don't need you to finish the whole thing. Like we know you do this for a living, and we know you enjoy it, but you don't have to work on our show. But it's looking amazing, and for everybody that's seeing all those muscles, he's looking at my muscles and drawing them onto this character.
Yeah,
Just
he's stripping all the fat away, and he just knows what muscles are under there because he's studied anatomy so much.
Right, there you go. You go.
But yeah, no, that's super cool that you showed us. So yeah, like you literally just start with like a quick sketch of the body, then you put another sketch of the what the outfit would look like, and then you go back to like then you're fine tuning everything. So it's amazing.
Yeah, that's it. And so I mean, you guys can kind of see how I would keep going on this. And take this further, but maybe I'll finish it and put it on my Instagram or something, and you guys can send people over there. But yeah, I mean, I kind of quickly came up with the story. He's a villain, per you guys' request, hot villain. So I said, okay, I'll make a hot villain. And so I just thought about the psychology of shape and how that will affect the design and how it will impact how people view this character. Yeah. And then I went full steam ahead. So that's basically, kind of a little bite-sized sample into how I design and what I do.
See, when I want to draw a hot guy, like I just draw a guy and then I do steam lines coming up from on top of him. Boom, hot guy.
It's a hot guy.
There you go.
Art. I'm an artist.
Well, Michael, is there anything we didn't touch on and you would like to let our listeners know about?
Yeah, definitely. For everyone who's listening, if you are interested in being a part of a dope art community, please check out Drawaholics Anonymous. It's a really amazing community of artists that has helped expedite people's growth process like crazy. I have people who are working in the industry right now that would not be in the industry were it not for Drawaholics Anonymous. So check that out. It's free. Check out my books on Gumroad. We mentioned those earlier. I mean, really, all the books that I have on there are pretty awesome, but the book bundle, the 2 books for $10 is pretty much a steal. I'm pretty much giving them away. So if you're interested in learning how to draw the figure, that's really good for you. Please give me a follow on TikTok and all my socials, Instagram, things like that. I would really appreciate that. I also I want to remind people about Grind Before Glory. I know we talked about it extensively earlier, but I'm really excited about it. We're launching June 13th, and I believe that it's going to make a huge difference in the art world. And hopefully a lot of these other schools will see us being successful and will respond by taking their crummy foundations programs and making them better. I want to let people know that I go live on TikTok probably about 4 to 5 times a week. So if people are interested in seeing me live on TikTok, I'll spend hours. I mean, we talked a lot here and I drew for a few minutes there. I do talk, but I also draw a lot as for the entire time as well, and engage and crack jokes, and we have fun. So we have a good time.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's how I found you. And I haven't been on TikTok for the last couple of weeks. Just I need a little break. But do you go on specific times, or you just depends when you have free time? Usually I find myself going on probably. I'm sorry, that's my dog.
That's okay. Oh, don't worry, we got a few in here.
There's a full zoo here.
They go off all the time. I'm actually quite shocked they haven't tonight.
But usually I go on closer to midnight. For some reason, my audience is just like not interested until about 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So usually I'll come on like midnight. I mean, I'll go on at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And 1,500 people will jump on the live stream. Like,
Yeah.
So, but I am trying to.
It's okay. A lot of artists are night owls, I think. So.
Oh, totally.
That's when it's peace and quiet, right?
Yeah.
wife and kids are asleep.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, man. That's exactly what it is. You are uninhibited. You get to be in the zone, and it's great. But yeah, I usually come on around midnight. I am trying to go a little bit earlier, maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to go on early tonight. I know your viewers probably won't see this for a while, but tonight I'm going on around 9 o'clock. And the reason why is because I am experimenting to see what happens if I announce early that I'm coming on and see how many people come on. So I'm also trying to get together a dedicated schedule and just stick to it so people know. I have a lot of people that are able to join from Europe because I go on so late.
Yeah.
So if I go on at midnight, people from Europe can jump on at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. Yeah, it's about 8-9 hour difference from Pacific times. It's 7 hours from here. I got family there, so.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find the sweet spot, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Before you sign off, I wanted to ask one thing. I've tried to remember to ask this of guests recently, just as something to do on the show. But knowing that you're a musician too, it will probably help. But can you screw up a song lyric for me? Either one that like you used to think was right when you were a kid and then realized it was wrong, or just one that you always thought was funny. That.
Yes. So there was a song by Michael Jackson that was very famous called "Beat It."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Weird Al Yankovic did a lyric called "Eat It."
Yeah,
he sure did.
And after I heard that, I never sang the song right again. I always, eat it.
Yeah. It's catchy.
Weird Al did a few Michael Jackson tunes, and it is hard. Whenever Weird Al does anything like that, like the original's never the same. It's always tough again.
Definitely, man.
I'm proud to say I've been to 2 Weird Al concerts in my life.
Nice.
So.
That's awesome, dude.
And actually, you know what we do on our show at the very end, we always give shout outs to anybody that if you have a special person that you would like to shout out, feel free to shout out right now. This is your time to give them a shout out, and we can tag them as well. If it's a business or another artist, we can tag them as well.
Right on, man. I want to shout out all my Drawaholics Anonymous homies. All my drawing fam. I want to shout out Mr. Jordan Foster, Joe McFoe on Instagram and TikTok. I want to shout out my homegirl, Lynn Guthrie from Ireland. She's a super dope concept artist. Kaylin Chalk is one of my really good friends. He works at DreamWorks. Shout out to him. They all need to follow because they've got some really amazing work. I want to shout out my homegirl, Rochelle Cowan, who is helping me do everything that I'm doing with Grind Before Glory. I want to give a shout out to my kids who are probably going to watch this and maybe think their dad is cooler than they thought.
We said some bad words. I'm sorry.
It's all good. They're a little older. I'll give a shout out to my wife because she's always holding it down so that I could sit in here and draw all day. Yeah, man. And just a shout out to all the artists who inspire me, like Ian McCaig and Phil Barassa and Sean Galloway and the many, many, many amazing artists that I come in contact with. They're all super dope, and they are why I am where I am.
Awesome.
Wow.
Right.
Those
on.
are some heavy hitting shout outs. Like last week I was shouting out milk for keeping my bones strong. Like
yeah,
Nice.
but we're not as cool as Michael is.
gonna have to work on that a little bit.
Well, Michael, again, we'll make sure we'll tag all your Instagram, your website, everything. We'll throw it in our pod script. We'll throw it all in on our social media as well. We'll make sure we'll tag the crap out of it and promote it for you. You know, feel free to we will really be releasing it this Friday. The YouTube version will come out on Thursday, so feel free to share it with your friends and your followers. You know, and hopefully they all enjoyed you on our show as much as we did. I absolutely
super interesting.
I mean, again, first of all, the Lucasfilms blew my mind. even though I'm not a Star Wars fan, I know how big that is. I know how amazing that must feel for you to have been part of that whole the whole creation of Clone Wars, whether it was for one episode or one season or all the seasons. Just be part of it is absolutely mind-blowing, and I really wish you all the best, and I'm very happy I got to meet you on TikTok. I love TikTok for that because I've met lots of great people on there, lots of great artists. We've had already 3 guests that I met through TikTok, which is awesome. You're the 4th one.
Yeah.
So, I love it. And again, wish you nothing the best. Good luck on your journey, whatever it may be in the future. And thank you very much for joining us and spending a couple hours with us explaining what you do and all that.
It was a pleasure, man. Thank you all very much. It was really cool just kind of hanging out and chatting with you guys. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to chat and help educate the public on what I do and talk about all my little ventures and stuff like that. Hopefully when things get going and we're super successful, I can come back on and tell you all about it.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? We'd love to have you back.
Come on up to Canada. You can be right on the show.
That's right.
Take a visit up here.
If you
Great White North.
You ever decide to travel, you have a place to crash in Winnipeg.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
All right, Michael, have yourself a great evening. Good. Have fun drawing tonight on TikTok, and I'll see you around on TikTok for sure.
Loads.
Take care.
Take care, man.
I had a feeling he's going to be cool and good, but I had no idea that he actually worked on freaking Clone Wars. That is badass.
Yeah.
Jesus.
What Tommy meant to say is he totally knew that, and wait till you see all the other cool guests we're lining up.
That's right.
Yeah. Actually,
Loads.
that's not even a joke. Can
we do have some?
Can we leak some of it? Are we really that big that we can afford to be holding back who we have as guests coming up here?
Let's not say who the guests are.
Okay, so what we can
say
here
is what
I have it right here.
Yeah, what they do, maybe.
So we have coming up this month. We're gonna talk some beer. We're gonna talk some more music. We're gonna even talk some radio.
Ooh, yes.
And then coming up in May, some more artists actually, and more music and more beer. So stay tuned. I'm really excited and shocked that we're got our shit together enough that we're booked for 2 months.
Yeah, we're booked with guests for 2 months. And they're
shitty
really...
podcasts don't get to book 2 months in advance, okay?
Exactly.
So take that, Alf.
We are
Jared, listening?
Snowflakes. All right, let's get into the confession booth.
I'm here for a confession.
Lord Jesus, what have you done?
Nothing. You just take it easy now.
I must confess.
Well, my dear, for your penance, 10 Bloody Marys and a good shag.
Leave a message. Beep.
Bretzky, are you ready for it?
I'm born ready and never ready.
I am excited for the first 2 voicemails because it's from our very good friend Mike and Ike.
Hey, you fuckers. It's Mike and Ike. What's going on?
Not much, buddy.
I'm just about to start episode 50, so I'm still listening.
Yes.
But, don't lose faith, okay? I'm still keep going.
Okay.
Hey, fuckers. What's going on? It's Mike and Ike. I'm just starting episode 50, so don't lose faith. Keep going. I'm still listening. All I really guys need is you 2 guys anyway, and the guest. Fuck those other 2 jokers that never show up.
Oh.
And for one of your guests, you're gonna be having my neighbor on.
That's right. Shortly. Yeah, we've tried a few times.
I know. Fuck it. It's coming.
Or end of this month or next month. Not 100% sure, but I want a big shout out to her too because she's actually looking taking care of after my cats when I'm out of town for work. Currently, I'm in Little Grand Rapids.
Oh, cool.
Leave like 2 weeks and then back for a week.
Say hi to the strippers over there.
The male ones are the ones Tommy knows.
Big shout out to you, Tutu, for just keep her going. All right. Oh, by the way, Tommy, is it web design or web design? You just
It is web design.
We just touched on that earlier in the episode. That's very apropos.
That'd be great. Fuck you
fuck
guys.
yourself.
Love you guys. And yeah, shout out to the Sad Jaguar because he makes fucking killer weed. Okay, bye.
That's probably the only acceptable shout out you can give him.
Yeah.
Bye.
Wait. It's still going.
Is he going to record a third time?
I think he wanted to re-record, but it just kept
He
going.
didn't realize that he didn't hit stop and go
There's
again.
still full 30 seconds.
Well, we'll keep talking, and if he interrupts us, then he'll just be like we normally are on the show.
It would be so funny if we just heard all of a sudden, like, just puts on porn in the background.
Yeah.
All you hear is like... No, I think that's it.
Nah, that's it. Too bad.
But the good thing is he called back.
Please let it just be the same message again.
I'm gonna leave a second one because let's be honest, you guys need the fucking content.
You mean third one?
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
It's Mike and Egg. What's going on? Not much has changed. Tommy, fucking killer work, man, on your drawings. I've been following you on Instagram and your
thanks,
drawings
buddy.
posts here. Fucking real killer, man.
Your drawings.
Yeah. What a great timing for him to call in
I
about
think Mike
this.
and I, by Little Grand Rapids, I think he meant Tommy's Bushes is where he actually is right now, and he's just peeking in the window all day long. We had our show notes.
Yeah, keep it up. I don't know much about drawings, but hey, it looks fucking good, and I can draw as a fucking stick man. So yeah, you got that on me. And yeah. So
Well, wait till you get to this episode because, like, boy, do we have some places we can point you.
maybe we can draw like a killer dick. That'd be fucking great. Like a big veiny triumphant bastard.
Can we call Michael back and just show him this message?
Sweet. Okay, bye.
Bye.
You got to tell Michael that he's got to listen to the extra stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike and I, it's awesome. I mean, first,
his name's Mike too. My head just exploded.
This was it? Is it faith?
It's Mikeception.
Or fate. Is it faith or fate? That was always
Depends
confusing.
how heavy your accent is.
Yeah. That was always actually confusing too. That word. Okay, next call. It's from fucking Buddy.
That sounds like Kyle.
I think it's Kyle.
Kyle or Kurt?
I mean, Kurt. I think Kurt has fallen off the wagon. I think he's still stuck somewhere in the snow with his snowmobile. So he's still trying to climb back onto the wagon. But, anyways, let's see. Let's hear it.
Holy fuck, there, buddy. Fuck. I'm a few behind. Listening to the metal detecting one. Holy fuck, buddy. Guy just about died, and the most unbelievable part of that whole fucking story was that fucking buddy there, fucking Bretzky, didn't fucking chime in and tell us about the one time that he actually did die, fucking laid on the table and seen Jesus and, fucking did his one-upsmanship. Can't fucking believe it. Good episode. Fucking can't believe it.
Fucking A.
Fucking A. Fucking Buddy.
That voice sounds familiar, but it could be a couple people.
I think that's Alf.
It's fucking Buddy.
It's fucking Buddy. Good call. Yeah, but
thanks for calling,
Buddy.
Buddy.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't die at some point. Like you had a story like, actually, I did die.
Yeah, well.
I did drown, died, and I came back.
Yeah.
Dude, I annoyed the shit out of all you.
Nobody comes back like I come back.
Yeah, I come back the best. All right, and one last call. It's from Tommy's Fart.
Hey guys, Big Dave here. Just wanted to put out a little challenge, if not, or whatever you want to call it.
I don't like where this is going.
I know.
By the subject line and the word challenge, I'm already out. I've seen the Jackass movies. I know how this ends.
Okay, let's hear it.
Guys and the listeners to roll up your sleeve and maybe go give some blood, because it's about time that we all get together, pitch in, and give the gift, because it's apparently the blood banks are at an all-time low, and yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
So,
yeah. Bretzky, I'm kind of sad that you gave the lead singer from that band COVID. That sucks. Tour's not over. Anyways, later.
Did Justin Hawkins end up with COVID? Like, he sent me a message about that too, and I kind of looked it up and I didn't see anything, but I'm not too sure. I think he also might be getting confused with. There's another band that was supposed to come to Winnipeg, Big Wreck. They got COVID, and so they had to cancel.
Oh.
But Monster Truck, who was opening for them, is still going to come and play a couple shows. With regards to your other comment there about the blood drive, I have a confession to make. I had an appointment for yesterday, but I had to cancel, unfortunately, because of recent COVID and some sickness still going around in the house. I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be that guy, So I'm gonna go next week. But I am. I will shout out Peach because even with me canceling, she's still
Leo too. I think.
As far as I know, Leo was still going too. I never saw anything from him that he was canceling. So yeah, Leon Darno and Peach both went down there and did the deed, and I'm going to, as soon as it is a little bit more safe and responsible for me next week, I'm going to make my way down there. I have some other shit I have to do in that area anyway, so I'm just going to try to put one together that I can go, and then...
Unfortunately, I can't go yet, not until September, but...
Yep. But yeah, maybe we'll get some scumbags together for some dinner or something like that, because that's what we were going to try to do this time, and something's always got to throw a fucking wrench in it every time. And it's COVID. Let's just get real. It's COVID every time.
But you know what? Fuck it. We'll get her done.
Yeah, it's going to happen. But, and we got to... Yeah, but not just us. Anybody else out there, if you're interested in going and you don't have anyone to go with, give us a shout. Like...
Contact us on the social media.
Yeah, we can kind of let you know when and where we're going, and we can try to all show up at the same time. And if you want to come down for a scumbag dinner with us afterwards, and
it's always a great time.
Yes.
Hey guys, thanks for calling into the confession booth again. If you guys would like to leave us a voicemail, you can go to our webpage, thevipod.com, and on the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little microphone. Click on it, and just like Big Dave or Mike and Knight or Buddy, leave us a voicemail about anything and everything. Let us know how you liked this episode, how you liked the previous episodes.
Fucked up dream you have. Oh, I had a couple fucked up dreams.
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that for sure. I like that. We haven't had one in a long time.
Fucked up food. Did we say fucked up food? And we got to actually make a note in one of our near shows, because we still have...
Somebody told us something, right?
We have peanut butter and cheese whiz that Jags wanted us to try.
Right, peanut butter and cheese
then
whiz, yeah.
Nomad wanted us to do her stupid bread pizza, where you just push down the middle and then you ketchup and cheese and then bake it. It's not stupid. I'm sorry. It's not stupid. It's fucked.
Yeah. But so leave us a voicemail like these guys did, or you can also leave us an email if you prefer. If you don't want to talk into the microphone and hear yourself on the show, you can also send us an email at vipodmail@gmail.com and just let us know what you think there, or any ideas and all that. You can
if you don't want to hear your voice, also you could call the confession booth and just use a voice changer and then sound like Darth Vader or an alien or something like that. That would also be pretty fucking sweet.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
You can please go and rate and review our show. You can leave us a feedback on our website, or you can do that also on Apple and Google Podcast. You can subscribe to Spotify, and you can listen to us on Amazon Music and tune in as well. Find us on social media. Feel free to follow us on Facebook. It's the VIPod. On Instagram, it's the VIPod podcast. shout out to our sponsors, Safety Net Studio. Check them out at safetynetstudio.com. And shout out to the Pizza Oven. And you can order your pizza at thepizzaoven.ca, and you can use promo code VIPod5 to get extra 5% on top of already the 5% off. And make sure that you guys register, because they have an incentive program and you can earn points that you can use towards your next purchase for the pizza. And drum roll! New sponsor alert! New sponsor alert!
Oh, fuck, wrong button.
We have a new sponsor. This is 1 year later.
1 year.
We've been officially now the VIPod for a full year. As of last year,
The
April,
official VIPod.
The official VIPod, yes. The VIPod. Before we were the WAD VIPod.
We were the beta.
We were the Wheeler After Dark VIP podcast. That's what we were before. And
sure.
But right now, it's been officially 1 year as of April 1st. So we are super excited. We are very happy that...
It's kind of... Did we ever bring it up how like ironic it was that our joke podcast came out?
I think we brought it up multiple times, especially with our guests when we've been having guests.
No, but that it was originally released on April Fool's Day.
Oh no! Well, actually, I think it was April 2nd actually that we released it.
Yeah.
But either way, it's still pretty fucking funny that we did it. We chose April.
It's still a joke.
Still a joke. Yeah, it's still a joke. This is not real. But. So I'm very happy.
We really have talent.
I'm very happy that you and I kept this going. We had 2 snowflakes drop out. You know, one might be coming back soon. I don't know. We'll see.
You know, actually, that actually
we love both of those. We love Kyle and Nomad. You guys know we're just joking, but we love you. But you guys are still snowflakes.
Yeah. It really kind of like... It struck a chord with me when Mike and I said, "Yeah, I'm at episode 50. I'm still keeping up." And I kind of like for a second there went, "Holy fuck!"
That's right.
So, like there are people out there who have listened to 50 hours plus.
Most of our episodes are 1.5 to 2 hours. So yeah, 100 hours. I think we can say it. That it's been about 100 hours.
So I think, my shout out, and I've done this before, but it's got to be the listeners on this one.
Yeah, and we'll get to the shout outs.
Well, you were just shouting out. You were shouting out sponsors. Oh, we didn't even say who the sponsor.
That's right. Hold on. Okay, let's get back a little bit. So anyway, I am super excited that we've been doing this for a year, and we should
have just not announced it. We should have just left it.
Well, and see, when you become a sponsor, this is what you get.
Yeah.
So we will make an official sponsor reel for this, but I would like to thank Badlands Promotions Incorporated for signing up as our new sponsor. We had the pleasure of having the owner of Badlands Promotions on the show, and I guess us bugging him a little bit and working together with him as well. It
was mainly blackmail. Yeah, blackmail and physical threats.
Yeah, but yes, but I think Dag sees this as a great opportunity to promote what his dream really has been, and so Badlands Promotions, it's a promotion company based out of Portage La Prairie. And we put on shows in Brandon, Winnipeg, and Portage La Prairie as well. And they also it's not the only thing that we do at Badlands Promotions. Badlands Promotions does some concert promotions, tour bookings, flyers, merchandising, photo services, video services, studio recording, EPK building, and website building as well. So if you have a band and you want to get on the show, or you need some merch, or you want to get some professional photos, or you want to get a video done, or you want to record some music, get a website going. Like if you some people do that themselves, but some people just don't have the time or the knowledge. Contact Badlands Promotions Incorporated at 204-595-0500, or you can email at badlandspromotions plap@gmail.com. And
what does Badlands
Yes,
does?
thank
Let
you.
me tell you what Badlands does. They do the Manitoba Loud Music Awards, which Tommy and I were proud enough to be a part of, helping put together.
So much fun.
And we are a part of it again for this coming year. So you'll definitely be hearing a whole bunch of shameless promotion from our own podcast.
Absolutely.
On that. And you'll probably hear some feature bands and stuff like that as well. So we plan on using this sponsorship to really kind of incorporate some extra material into the show that drives down the alley that we've been kind of going down with supporting.
And that's not
arts.
all. That's not all. We're going to have Dag here once a month to give us an update. What's going on with Badlands? What's going on with Manitoba Loud Music Awards?
I thought you were going to say he was going to give us handies.
Well, we'll put that in the fine print. When he signs the contract, we'll be like, haha, fuck you.
All right.
Giggity.
Free handies for you.
So yeah, he's it's a full year sponsorship. So we thank you very much, and we're also going to promote local shows, whether it's in basically all of Manitoba shows, whether it's in Portage or it's in Brandon or Winnipeg, or even if you're putting on you want to put on a show in Thompson, I'm sure that can make it happen, or we can just promote it for you.
Yeah, if we can't make it work, we'll get you in touch with someone who can. Probably so.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, actually, quick shout out to Pizza Oven, because they've been our sponsor for a year now.
Yeah,
too. So
shout out to them too. The Pizza Oven. I miss getting to do that every week. It's fun.
But so with Badlands sponsorship, Dak, thank you again. We have a couple shows that we would like to announce for everybody to check it out. It's all locally. So the first show, it's actually a fundraiser for the Manitoba Loud Music Awards. It's the very first fundraiser of this year. And so it's going to be at Bulldog Event Center on April 23rd. And it's going to have a new band. I believe they're from Portage La Prairie. It's called Run Its Course. Then we're going to have the Murder Capital, fantastic band. They've won some awards at the Manitoba Loud Music Award as well. Then we're going to have a Metallica tribute band, Orion. They are fucking amazing. They're just jam actually not far from here, so we should go crash their jam. They jam Friday nights. We should go crash them. Yeah. And headlining is the Bloodshots from Selkirk. So
also a great band. And not to be confused with the piss shots like Sad Jaguar drinks.
Yeah. So the tickets to the show, they're $20. You can just get your tickets at the door, and there you can pay cash, or you can also bring a card, because Dag has that little machine that does the beep
square.
Does the beep beep.
The future money taker.
Yeah,
thing.
future money taker. Exactly. So yeah, again, April 23rd, 2022 at the Bulldog Event Center. Run Its Course, Murder Capital, Orion, Bloodshots. So that's the first show that we're announcing. And then there's another show that's coming up at the end of the month, April 30th. And this one is going to be a super cool one. I think we should try to make it and go shirtless to the show, because, well...
Is this the music video?
Yeah, it's a live music video. I'm like, they need a couple handsome bearded dudes there, without shirts off. Like, hey, why not?
VIPod body paint.
Fuck. Oh, my God. We're definitely going to make an appearance on that video if we go
that,
like
or they're
that.
going to end up with all the worst camera angles, because we'll just destroy everything.
So it's a live music video shoot for the band Indigo. Indigo also won, I think one award.
They won an award.
Yeah, at the Manitoba Loud Music Awards. So it's a Saturday, April 30th, 2022. Also at the Bulldog Event Center, that's located at 1364 Main Street. And there's other bands that are going to be on that night as well. So one of them is the Prison Richard Band. I've seen them actually. They're really good band. Seventh Strength. They were featured actually. They played a show at the Manitoba Loud Music Award. I think they're the young dudes, right? Yeah. I mean, I love young bands because like they're gonna be the future artists of the city, right? And hopefully
the singer
kind of
looked like he was trying to channel that like Johnny Deppy kind of.
That's right.
Look,
Yeah. He had that flow going. And the glasses,
the long hair, and the pencil goatee.
Yeah. I mean, fuck. Yeah, he rocked it. And also a band called Shit Happens. So again, April 30th, Indigo Live Music video shoot. Go down to the Bulldog Event Center at 1364 Main Street and go check it out. I mean, it's, if nothing, we should be there. We need to be there, Bretzky.
Yeah.
And so check them out. Live show. Lots of live shows coming up next week. We're going to be busy, Bretzky. Well, I'm going to be busy. You're only going to one.
Yeah.
I'm going to two.
Wait, what is next week?
Slipknot.
That's next week already?
On Monday. Yeah.
Holy
yeah,
fuck.
We're going to Slipknot. Then we have the show. Then we're recording the show on Tuesday, and then on Friday I'm going to Comeback Kid as well.
Holy shit!
And then I thought Friday we might be coming here for beers. No?
Yeah. Well, I almost ended up with tickets for Alice Cooper this weekend too. So
shit! It's this weekend.
I still might try. I might see if there's some cheap.
Alice Cooper's here this weekend.
Alice Cooper with Buck Cherry opening.
Oh, I don't like Buck Cherry.
They got a few good songs.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, so Badlands Promotions again. Shout out to DAG and Badlands Promotions Incorporated. Thank you for sponsoring the VIPod. All right, shout outs.
I already started mouthing off about it earlier, but I'm going to have to give it to the fans on this one for sticking with us for a year and over 50 hours. If you've managed to listen to that, wow. That's all I got to say about that. Loads to you guys.
Absolutely. And, I'll join you.
Next time you see us out, that next round's on Tommy.
Absolutely. I'll pay for a round of water.
Bottled or
sure, yeah. I might as well just get beer.
Yeah,
it's cheaper. I think I really hope we turn into Europe, because in Europe, like the mineral waters and waters are way more expensive than booze.
Yeah,
I mean, for a little 300 ml bottle, you'll pay double what the beer costs.
Yeah.
So, it's been an amazing year. Shout out to again Kyle and Nomad. You guys were part of what we started. Nomad even more. Kyle, you always bring tons of laughter to the group, and I know you've been busy, but I
mean, if only you'd have been here when we had video, you'd have really knocked it out of the park on the laughter.
I think YouTube would have banned us because there would have been so many of his asshole shots. I would have had to put a little flower over it or something.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for being there with us at the beginning, and again, you're welcome to come back and join us at the show. I think we should wrap it up already and pull out quickly, because we've been going at this for now almost 3 hours.
Okay, I'll save my dreams for another day, because
this is a super long episode. I mean, we had Michael drawing, and it's fuck it. You know what? Let's do it.
Okay, they're both pretty quick. There's nothing really to go about it.
I mean, your dreams are always shitty, so
no, it's just weird. We'll
leave this as a bonus episode.
Since I had my injury and stuff, and it's not even to do with medication because I'm not even on anything or anything, but I've just been having fucked up, vivid ass dreams. And I had this one dream that, me and you were waiting in line for a concert or something. It was just at it's real kind of dive bar-y kind of atmosphere, and we're standing there, but the line just wasn't moving, and I guess people are starting to get frustrated, and I turned around just to see, I guess the girl behind you was annoying you, and so you just turned around and you grabbed her and
by the pussy?
No, you kind of bent her down and grabbed her around the waist and then just launched her over your shoulder, but she kind of flipped in the air and came down and landed on her head.
Nice.
And fucking died.
Yes.
And
killed someone.
Her friend
finally
came over and is just oh my God, there's lots of blood. Oh my God, she's dead. And then everyone started freaking out and all that. And I'm just well, fuck, there goes the podcast, because
I thought
Tommy's going to jail for life. And
I would have been the line's moving, let's go.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is you weren't even shook by it. You were just kind of like, fuck.
Well, bitch had it coming.
Yeah, she was being annoying. Like, and then my other dream was just actually I think this was just last night. Yeah, because it was. So I had this dream that like I shit myself.
Oh, it wasn't
like,
a dream.
But one of those one like and it was just like I didn't just like poop a little. Like I filled my pants like to the point where like, and it was like a big like ditch full of like clay. Like it was just like heavy, and I was just like, oh no, I need to do something about this. And then I somehow eventually managed to make it to a bathroom and clean it. And let me tell you, this was not a cleanup job. It was worse than the worst diaper you could have ever imagined.
Okay, so speaking of shitting yourself, last night.
Oh god. Okay, well I'm at the very end, so I'll just finish it.
Yeah.
But what scared me the most was, that second, because like whenever that happens in a dream, your first thought when you wake up,
you shit yourself.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
I was scared. I thank God.
Did you do you put your hand in the pants?
Well, I didn't put the hand straight in. I just kind of I shifted the weight a few times to make sure that.
Does it feel like clay?
Yeah. Thank God I didn't shit the bed.
So no, just last night I passed out super early because like the night before I only slept like an hour and a half. But so last night I passed out around I think it was like 9 o'clock. Of course, 1:30, boom, wide awake, right? So I'm like, playing some video games or whatnot, and then I'm like, I'm fucking hungry. So I go upstairs. I'm like, what should I eat without making lots of noise? I took the box of cereal. I took some milk, and then my in-laws just came back from Europe, and they got this. Oh, we should test market. It's a chocolate powder that you mix with milk.
Okay.
Best fucking chocolate milk. But you can mix it in with like whipping cream, or like put it on like, or just eat it.
What's it called?
It's called Granco, but it's just like it's like the Nesquik like powder, but this is like granules, and it's so fucking good. But so I was like, I grabbed like that too. So I literally filled up like a giant bowl of cereal, put like that chocolate the powder on it, and then milk, right? So I ate the whole fucking thing. This morning I wake up. And like I was already late. I woke up like a half an hour. I had a meeting at 8 o'clock to work. I was working from home today, and so I woke up. I'm like, oh shit! I messaged you. I'm like, I was supposed to start a Zoom call. I'm like, shit, sorry, I just woke up. Give me a couple of minutes. So I went upstairs, made myself a coffee, right? And I went down, turned Zoom on, sat down, right, and then just literally take a sip. And she's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, good. Sorry, gotta go to the washroom. And I fucking bolted. I could barely pull my pants down. That thing was just like shooting out of my ass, I guess.
It's like a potato cannon, like when the pressure.
Yeah, it was because I guess I took a sip and I sat down. Everything just got pushed down, but it was so loose that it was just like I was gonna literally shit my pants. But I'm like, oh, thank God I made it. But she was laughing hard. But anyways, that's my story.
Someone out there, shit your pants and call and tell us about it.
That's right. Yeah, we love stories like that. Thank you guys for listening to episode 52, I believe. Thanks for sticking around for a year with us. We love you a lot. We really hope you guys enjoy the content we put out. And if you don't and you still listen, well, even better. Fuck you. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
We're going to get into the confession booth right now.
Now we're going to say the stuff we haven't been able to say for the last 2 hours.
I've been itching to say words like fuck, cunt.
Fuck.
I think this is a good bonus track, actually.
Are his kids still listening?
He said they're older, so.
Okay.
What a great guest